All right, I'm back. You ready to go? Awesome. Sound good? Everything's good. Fire this thing up. Welcome to the Irish Hills of Michigan for the second to final race of the regular season here in the Full Throttle Darkmatter Designs Cup Series event, round number 26. I'm joined in the booth tonight by Chris Spear. Chris, this is going to be a huge event. We have 2 spots open for the playoffs, 2 races to go. I can't wait to see this thing get going.
Absolutely, Jared. This race and Daytona next week are really going to set the class here going into the playoffs. Tracks, both of which rely on other people that will give you a little bit of help, and there's a couple drivers back behind the cut line that will be asking for it tonight.
First and only trip to Michigan this year, but we are about ready to get this thing going. Drivers are out there qualifying, so let's take a look and at all the things going on coming into tonight's race, because there's a lot of things. Let's first off start, as you can see the bottom of your screen, the qualifying laps being posted right now, so you can pay attention to your favorite driver out there. But we got to talk about the playoffs, Chris, and it is going to be a tight one here for these drivers, because you look at it and Randy McCanny is the last guy in the playoffs, but he's got a win. Casey Boland locked himself in last week by points, but there's still 2 positions. Lane Allen has a 5-point advantage on Brian Helm and a 9-point advantage on Wayne Grossi. Then you got Bill Benedict, a further 42 points back. Poliski, 43 points back. Chad Lang in 20th back there. He is about 80 points back right now, Chris.
Those drivers back behind that cut-on, like Lang, are going to be looking for tonight to be able to get a win here and get as many points as possible here, because next week, Jared, all chaos can ensue because we're going to Daytona.
Daytona is the final race of the regular season, and it's, I gotta say, I'm glad I'm not out there or have to worry about my playoff spot in that last race, that's for sure. But we
certainly agree with that, Jared.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be a great race tonight. We look at the qualifying going on right now, but let's take a look at our race information first. And it is 73 degrees, so it's a very nice day if you want to sit in the stands. 101 track temps, so very racy conditions. Winds out of the east at 3 miles an hour, Chris. That's going to give us a really racy track here at Michigan.
That it will, Jared, and it'll also help these drivers along one of the straightaways, because that's going to give them a tailwind, making them all that much more faster going into the corner.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Chris, that I actually didn't think about. But that tailwind is going to be something we're going to have to look at as this season or this race goes on. Let's bring up the timing tower, and right now Bernard Persson on top. Now we do have 45 drivers, and that means 2 drivers are going to be going home. And right now it looks like it's going to be Zach McDaniel. Let's see if everybody's put a lap in. I don't know if everybody's put a lap in, but Zach McDaniel and Rory Collins at the bottom. Yes, everybody's put a lap in. Chris, it is a half a second between being in the field and being out of the field.
That it is, Jared. These times up front and all throughout the field are just separated by mere hundreds going throughout the field. Just looking quickly at the top 10, 7 hundredths is the difference between first and 10th.
Good qualifying for Darren Bruce, making one of his very early starts of his FTSR career. Ronnie Royal back out there racing. He's been been out with some personal stuff. Glad to see him back out on the track. But we do have the 5-minute warm-up that is going on next, and it's going to be get us into the start of this race. Now, Chris, we talked about Wayne Grossi, Brian Hellman, Lane Allen. Those guys, 2 of those guys can still make it in on points, especially if no new winners happen tonight. But how do you attack this race at Michigan knowing that next week, I mean, you're not guaranteed a spot in the playoffs until after Daytona next week on points?
At this point, Jared, it's pretty simple. Go out here and win. Be the class of the field. No one really cares about point racing tonight. Right now, everyone's looking for the win to try to secure themselves in. Daytona is such a wild card, Jared, that you don't want to even have to go into that worrying about whether or not you can point your way in or not.
Looks like we're just having a few holdups here on the server side, but we should be getting going pretty soon here tonight as this race is about to get going. Now you look at Michigan, first and only time that we've raced in Michigan this year. Raced there twice last year. Rachel Hunt won the last time we raced here. Led 93 of 100 laps, Chris. Even though it was this time last year that we ran Michigan, does any of that information carry over?
Certainly a little bit of it does, Jared, but the only thing that's different here is that we're on a little bit different tire model here. So the base coming into this year, but it's not exactly the same. These drivers had to do a little bit of tweaking on last year's setups to be able to be competitive here tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be very good. So while we're trying to figure out, looks like there we go. So we are getting this thing going, I believe, to the warm-up session. So we're just kind of in a holding pattern right now, but we will be getting this thing going. So, Chris, you look at these guys heading into Daytona. That's a wild card race, but can we expect a driver that we haven't really talked about, somebody in that 20 to 25th position? We'll bring up the points again. And, can somebody sneak a win out that we haven't even thought about yet this year, Chris?
Absolutely, Jared. With this track and with Daytona coming next week, tracks lend themselves to first-time winners here. Also, they lead themselves to being like a streak-snapping track. If you have a winless streak in this series, more often than not, tonight and next week are your chances to come up here and snap them. Not because they're any easier than any other night, but it puts a lot of people on a lot more equal ground here. I mean, just looking through the times of this field here tonight, you can tell everyone here brought a great car to race.
Exactly right. So we are still kind of in a holding pattern here. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we will have a hopefully be able to get this race underway.
Certainly it can. The only benefit that these drivers have than the real Cup drivers have, Jared, is that these guys can actually go out and practice with one another. Unlike what our actual Cup Series drivers can do because of COVID protocols and all of that going on this year, these drivers have the ability to go out here and race one another pretty much every night leading up to this race. And that really provides a great opportunity for you to learn how to drive around those around you. They may be, but also, Jared, they don't have to run up here and be competitive here tonight. I know that sounds bad, but these guys, Michigan's a little bit different than most of the tracks in the playoffs here. So you're not going to be taking a lot of this information into the playoffs as relevant information. You absolutely have to go for the win first, Jared. Once you realize that you're out of contention for that win, that's when your mindset changes to where you're focused on actual points. Once that little timeline crosses, once you know you cannot be the winner at the end of the night, then it's all about controlling what you can control.
Yeah, that's going to be something that we'll have to look at. And apologies about that. We hit the mute button on the side of my mic, so apologies about that. But I didn't really say anything important. As you see there on the screen, the flagman is waving the checker flag on warm up, and we are about ready to get this thing ready. It's a 250-mile race. It's a pretty long one, 125 laps around Michigan Speedway. Let's get into our starting lineup here tonight at Michigan Speedway. On pole is Bernard Persson, the only driver to get in the 37s at a 37.995. Alongside him, rookie and debutant, fifth race for Darren Bruce. He's going to start alongside. Dale Nearad and Brian Helm, two teammates in row number 2. Then row number 3 is going to be Josh Johnson and Troy Torgerson. Row 4 is Chuck Sweeting and Ronnie Royal making his return to the series. And row number 5, rounding out your top 10, Rachel Hunt and Dean Doucette.
There for row is going to be Jake, and beside him, and the row 7, you're going to have Josh Mayhew, Benedict III. Row number 8 is Jeff Chandler and Kevin Rupert. Row 9, Randy McCanney and Chad Lane, who will be looking to point his way in or get a victory here tonight. And then behind them, row number 10, Gil Gawk and Lane Allen.
Looking further back at the rest of the group here, row number 11, we got Bobby Terrell, Casey Mullen, our top points getters right now in the season. Row number 12 is Tim Bills and Sher Williford. Row 13 is going to be Donnie Staubitz and Tracy Powers. Row 14, Wayne Grassi and Richie Coy. Row 15, Mike Watts and Stephen Bruman. And we'll cycle through the rest of these. These guys are just now leaving the pit road, Chris. So we'll take a look at row 16.
Row 16 is going to be Chris Stouffer and Ralph Nolan. Behind them in row 17 is going to be Jeff Bratton and Kenneth Schultz. Row 18, TJ Bartell and John Held. Row 19 is going to be Randy Ballard and Matthew Perringer. And behind them in row 20,
Chris, we're having a little bit of trouble with the mic again tonight, but I just wanted to let you know. But rounding out our field is Tony Solari, Brandon Elder, and Jeff Chandler, James Torrey. But we're getting word that Jeff Chandler has missed the start, so we'll have to take a look and see. Yeah, he has. He is not on the grid. So interesting development for the number 31 camp. So here we go. These guys getting this thing ready to go, get it started. But that has got to be concerning for the Frontline Esports group. Didn't have any messages or anything but he is not on grid. Dean Doucette, end of longest line penalty. He's going to be dropping the back. Pace car is off, and it's going to be Bernard Persson and Darren Bruce leading them down to start the Michigan 250.
Bernard Persson gets a great jump on that inside line. That's a little bit different than what you saw in real life, as he's going to take Dale Nearad behind him as they're going to lead the way going into turn 1.
Solid, everybody solid through the turns. Here we go. My goodness, 3-4 wide outside of turn number 1, side by side through the deep parts of the field, Chris.
That they are, Jared, and these starts are going to be interesting here tonight, as everyone here is going to be trying to make up as much room as they can. The easiest way to do it is when you're all bunched together like this.
Dale Nearad jumps the second spot. So the Bandit Racing and Spear Motorsports Group up to the front. Josh Johnson up 2. He's going to move to 3rd, taking over from Darren Bruce. Brian Helm, a driver on the cusp of making the playoffs. He is going to be dropping into 4th position, and he's got a challenge on the outside from Troy Chorgeson in the number 98.
Jared, you saw it right there. Brian Helm tried to get underneath Chuck Sweeney, and when he did, he just lost a little bit of momentum, and that gave Troy Chorgeson the run that on the outside there. He's going to clear him going into 3.
Right now, and now he's got Rachel Hunt in that number 16 on the outside of him. So battling all over the track right now. Yes, Jeff Chandler did not take the grid. I'm not sure. Very interesting development there for the 31 machine, as he is a couple laps down, showing a couple laps down right now.
There's a wreck
and a wreck.
Coming out of 4.
It's Bobby Terrell involved. He's through the grass in the number 5 machine. Sherwood Williford is involved. 3 laps in, and we have some big names. Chris Stouffer also involved. TJ Bartel involved. Dean Doucette, I think, got through it. And let's take a look and see what happened on the track. It looks like it may have started with Richie Coy and Josh Mayu. So here we go. There's Josh Mayu, or sorry, Richie Coy. He's on the outside. He's that, somebody's in the grass ahead of him. That's Gil Gog. Oh, Richie Coy, heavy impact. Ralph Nolan, TJ Bartel. Could not tell who that was. Maybe Jeff Bratton. Let's see if we can get a better view of this. So here we go. Bobby Terrell. He's that 5 machine there, and this is not a great angle. But here he is. Oh, at 4 wide. That's not going to work, fellas. Chad Lang, Gil Gog, Josh Mayu. Bobby Terrell, I don't think he realizes they're 4 wide. Gets into the side of Gil Gog, goes through the grass, and then gets clobbered by Gil Gog again. Gets some damage on the rear end there. But Chris, big accident already in this race.
That it is, and that's just that is what happens here on these big tracks like this. Guys going 4 wide out of the corner, getting the arrow loose there, and you could see it there is just a big wreck between a lot of different drivers.
On board, TJ Bartel in the number 88 machine. And he is going to see this accident right up in front of you here. There's a white car. There's the accident. And he's off the gas, but this hole closes up very quickly, and he gets hit from behind, hit from the front, and that hole shut down very quickly, Chris.
That it was, Jared, and a tough night for a lot of different drivers back here that really needed a good night.
Dean Doucette, though, did get it through there. We got some drivers taking an opportunity to come to pit road. Let's take a look and see who those guys are. Bobby Terrell, obviously, on there. Tracy Powers, Donnie Staubitz, Jeff Bratton, John Held, all on pit road currently. And some of those guys with damage, some of those guys is topping off fuel. But, Chris, you look at it, drivers involved. Sure, Williford, he's one of those drivers in a must-win position. He cannot point his way in, but he's inside the top 25 in points. That car, we see it on screen there, heavy damage to the number 33, Timothy A. Morris Chevrolet.
At this point, Jared, that car is going to be in the pit lane as often as possible to repair that damage. Just get around here and try to make up points as much as possible. Not a winning night, perhaps, but it still could keep him in the playoff race, not chase.
We knew what you meant. And we got, let's see if there's anybody else here, back here. Everybody else looking pretty good. But like we said, Josh Mayu with a little damage, Gil Gok with damage, Chris Stouffer with damage on that number 13 machine. He's got heavy damage on that machine. TJ Bartel, Ralph Nolan, Matt Geringer, Richie Coy, Darren Bruce, or no, sorry, that's not Darren Bruce, that's Mike Watts, apologies. Very similar paints, but those guys all with significant damage and likely for a lot of those drivers out. A lot of those drivers, though, Chris, they're outside the top 25, so they're kind of in that, hey, we got to win anyway.
That they are, and these drivers, they know that they've got to do whatever it takes to get up here and win. So a little bit of strategy play here early on may help them get there.
And we look at the front of the field, Bernard Persson, Dale Nearad, they both have wins. They are both in the chase. The next three drivers, Johnson, Bruce, and Sweeting. Chuck Sweeting has won twice this year, but he is not eligible for the playoffs. Neither is Johnson or Bruce. So your top driver that's eligible for the playoffs that is in is Brian Helm back in 8th, alongside his teammate Ronnie Royal there in the 24 machine. Jason Spear up to 10th. So a very good start for the Spear Motorsport Bandit Racing group. Then you look back at some of our other drivers that are on that points line. Lane Allen there in the 14 machine. You see him there. He is a driver currently in the playoffs, but doesn't want to see a new winner here tonight because he's only 5 points ahead of that line.
And Jared, as we get ready to go back green racing lap 7, we had a chance keys to this race. One of them is going to be avoiding conflict, just like what we saw there. A couple of drivers in the back were able to make it through, not in their nights early, but a driver who really benefited from that was Jeff Chandler after missing the start.
Yeah, he did. And Chris, you're cutting out again. We might need to go to that backup option. But these guys about ready to get this this race restarted. So that is Bernard Persson, and Dale Nearad, if I'm not mistaken, is not on the screen. That is not good when you're about ready to start the race, restart the race, and your second place driver is not there. And yes, Dale Nearad looks like he is going to be dropping out with connection issues. But the green flag is back out here at Michigan, and a little bit of a slow start for Bernard Persson. Little checkup from Josh Johnson. Yes, Dale Nearad, I believe, has dropped out. That's going to mess up our timing and scoring for a second here, but it will refresh.
A little bit of a slow start there, but here again.
And we did not, Chris, I apologize, we didn't catch any of that, but we on board back through the pack. Troy Torgerson all over the back of Darren Bruce, and you see the runs are getting down that back straightaway. And Josh Johnson on the bottom trying to make something happen, but just nothing that he can do right now on that 05 machine. Looking back further, Brian Hill 3 wide for 5th place. That's Chuck Sweeting in the sandwich. Going down the straightaway, still 3 wide down the front straightaway. We got Troy Torgerson dropping down there, but this is going to be a kind of race that I think we're going to see all night. Almost 4 wide. Ronnie Royal decides to back out. Lane Allen all the way up against the wall. There is plenty of racing room here at Michigan Speedway. But where do you go right now? Ronnie Royal tucking in. Back. Up front, it is still Bernard Persson, Darren Bruce. They're the top 2. Dale Nearad dropped out right when we're coming to green. Connection issues for the 03. Tough luck for him. But right now, Troy Torgerson gets clear in that number 98. Josh Johnson, Brian Helm trying to make a move. Back further, it's 2 by 2 by 2.
That it is, Jared. And these guys are doing everything they possibly can here to get that move and move themselves up front.
These guys battling very hard down the back straightaway. Looking at Lane Allen right now. He's battling for 10th place. Bill Benedict, he's a driver. He could still point his way in, but he needs to pretty much finish in the top 3 positions tonight in order to do that. Chad Lang, also a driver, playoff eligible if he can get in this playoff mix. You look at the table there. Coy and McMullen both in the garage, multiple laps down. Everybody else back on the lead lap. McCanny up high. He get a little bit loose, a little bit of help, maybe from Tim Bills entering turn 1. On board Lane Allen in the number 14 machine, being a little bit conservative, but nothing wrong with that as these guys continue to race. It is, I just don't even know where to go. It's racing all over the place, but this front group isn't really breaking apart until you get a little bit further back. Oh, and that is the 18 machine of Brandon Elder collecting the wall there a little bit in front of Dean Doucette, gets it gathered up.
Bill Benedict in the 90 car is looking to the inside of Chuck Sweeney, trying to make it work on the inside groove there, just not able to usually get the power out of the corner, losing momentum on the backstretch.
Yeah, exactly right, and he is just going backwards because of that. That momentum, Chris, it's going to be a big thing at this track.
It certainly is, and now he gets a good run in the middle of the corner there. That 90 car looking to get in front of the 57 machine as well, and I believe that is Joshua Johnson actually on your screen.
Josh Johnson in the 05 right there. Jason Spear, he's coming up through the field. That's in 10th place. Big battle back here, but there's kind of a front group formed, Chris, and we have to go all the way back. I do believe that is maybe James. No, it's not James Torrey. That's John Held in that second group, a little bit further off the pace. Some of these guys have some damage in this group. Some of these guys a little bit down on power, but got a couple different groups formed up, Chris.
That we do, and there was a car that got way loose off the corner. That was going to be the number 7 machine, and we have our second caution of the night.
Wayne Grossi with some damage on the back end of that machine. Kevin Rupert, Joe Flanagan involved. Let's take a look and see what happens. So this is a big pack, and you look at Joe Flanagan. Let's see if this camera view is going to do it justice. Oh, it's in front of him. It's Wayne Grossi. Joe Flanagan nowhere to go. Maybe and hard impact for Kevin Rupert. We're gonna have to get a little bit better angle of this because it happened a little bit further up than what our system said it did. So Wayne Grossi, the 7 car in the yellow, and he just kind of comes up. This is right there. Oh yeah, he just I don't think he saw it. Randy McCanny might have got some damage in that one, and Joe Flanagan, tough break for him. Kevin Rupert, heavy impact. He was a driver, Chris, that could still point his way in, although very long odds for him. And now that journey is over for Kevin Rupert. We'll get another look at this wreck and see if we can see exactly what happened. It looked like a Jeff Winter or Jeff Chandler. I couldn't tell which one had a good view of that wreck, but we'll see if we can get a good view of that.
That would have been Jeff Chandler in that 31 machine.
So here we go, on board, Jeff Chandler. And you see right here in front of him, Ronnie Royals coming up, and Wayne Grossi, I don't know. I don't think they knew that they were there. It looked like one came down, one came up, but we don't make those kind of rulings in the booth. But tough break for those drivers involved.
And Jared, this all comes down to just how aggressive these drivers are being here in this draft. And Jeff Chandler really luckily able to get through that and not be caught up in that. Bunch of other guys back behind them, including Bobby Terrell in that 5, were able to sneak through without any damage.
Well, that's big news, Chris. Wayne Grossi is right now the last driver in the playoffs. He was 5 points behind Lane Allen. He was the first driver out of the playoffs, 4 points behind Brian Helm, 9 points behind Lane Allen. And getting involved in a wreck, not going to help your chances tonight. You can certainly make the playoffs tonight with a win, and you can certainly fall out of the playoffs tonight with a bad event, and that's going to be tough. Right now, we look down the running order. Coy, McMullen, and Nearad multiple laps down, and I believe everybody else, for the most part, is 1 lap down or less, and we'll get that updated here in a second. But Bernard Persson leading, Darren Bruce, who's done a great job up front, Brian Helm, Torgerson, Benedict, Johnson, Lang, Sweeting, Hanna, and Jason Spear, your top 10 right now. So we have 33 drivers on the lead lap. McCanny and Stouffer, who McCanny got a little damage off that on the last caution, or the most recent caution that we're under. Stouffer, the first caution he was involved in, and then everybody else is 1 lap down or more. That includes TJ Bartel, Matt Geringer, Kevin Rupert, Joe Flanagan, Dale Nearad, McMullen, and Coy. So a tough break tonight for some of those guys back here that have just kind of been in the wrong place at the wrong time, Chris.
Absolutely. A lot of different drivers back in the back here that just have been caught up in other people's messes here early on. And Jared, that's going to happen pretty much the rest of the night, as these drivers are really out here battling side by side for the majority of this race so far.
And Chris, we have a lot of people out there watching tonight. Mark Figueroa cheering on his K2B guys. Darren Bruce, one of those. Josh Johnson, one of those. Both in the top 10, doing a good job. Josh Mayhew back there in 33rd. I believe he got a piece of that first accident, but he's out there. We got Doyle Lawrence. I mean, he is always out there rooting on the Frontline Esports guys. But something we were talking about, he was talking about Jeff Chandler barely missing that. Michigan has turned in with this package, Chris, kind of like Talladega and Daytona, hasn't it?
It certainly has, Jared. And on this track now, you kind of have to have a partner here to draft and get away from everyone else here. And that's really what the front half of the field has been unable to do so far. They haven't been able to get one or two groups together where it's 3 or 4 drivers to be able to pull away. We saw that there was a huge group in just that first section, and it took a car that was a little bit off pace to be able to fall off here early on in this race, as we're going to go back racing on lap 16 of this 125 lap event.
So Bernard Person will lead Darren Bruce down to the start, and we'll get this thing re-going again. Easy start. And its green flag is back out here at Michigan, and a good start by Darren Bruce on the bottom. But Bernard Person, the race leader, electing to take the high side, Chris, just like we saw in the race yesterday. High side prevailing for now, but Darren Bruce shoves it down into turn 1.
Darren Bruce trying to show that he's got some strength here early on, even if he's not a current regular in this series. Bernard Person going to battle back on the outside, though, trying to get around.
What a move by Darren Bruce and the 06 machine. Still making a move. Troy Torgerson tucked up behind. The A machine. Brian Helm tucked in there as well. So we got some point implications. We got some playoff implications right in one picture. Darren Bruce doing a good job on the bottom. Slides up. Bernard Person still holding him off.
Keep an eye on Brian Helm as he was trying to do everything he could last week to get up here and point and win his way into the playoffs. Now sitting in 4th place, looking strong in that car, whereas earlier he was falling back, Jared.
Looking out the back of Darren Bruce's machine, and you can see everything going on, and it is a crazy pack race behind him. Bruce edges ahead of Bernard Person going into turn 3. Bernard Person with the side draft comes back strong on the outside. It's a drag race to the line, and Bernard Person's going to lead that lap again, Chris.
That he is, but Bernard Person is doing everything he can on that outside. There's just no help for the 06 on that bottom lane, Jared. It's just going to be a matter of time before Bernard Person's able to get around, unless he can get some help from the 90 of Bill Benedict on that for that 06 car.
Chris, I got to ask, them battling like this, you see Darren Bruce kind of slide up a little bit in the middle of the corner. Right there, oh my goodness, he is very close to Bernard Person. Is that burning their stuff up a little bit too soon?
It certainly doesn't help, Jared, but at a track this big, tire wear is not really too much of an issue here. You'll continue to see them start to slide a little bit more in the corners here as they go side by side, but this early on in the run, it really doesn't hurt them too bad.
Torgerson on the outside now with Darren Bruce. Bill Benedict coming forward. It's a good job in the 90 machine. Bill is a driver that pretty much is in a must-win position, although he does have an outside shot of making it in on points, but he would need a lot of help, which so far he is getting tonight, but he is up to 4th place. Helm is in 5th. Sweeting, Johnson, Lang, Hanna, and Spear your top 10, but the top... Oh my goodness! Darren Bruce went in a hole, Chris, and that was almost closed up.
That hole was extremely tiny, and you could see exactly what happened there as Bill Benedict had to kind of get out of it there, Jared.
Bill Benedict nearly saw his playoff chances might have died right there. Darren Bruce a little loose off the corner. Chris, these guys are looking very racy here. Is that just the pressure of the playoffs? I mean, a lot of these guys are in. Does he just want more wins? Or what's going on tonight?
Well, a lot of it has to do with the track and the style of racing that comes with this track, Jared. A lot of it is because of how much you have to use the draft here to get around other drivers. But all of those drivers that are on the outside looking in, they're doing whatever they can to make up these positions. And that's why you see them being racy so early on in this race.
Yeah, exactly right, Chris. And it has been just amazing to see these guys go side by side. Oh, Chad Lang a little bit loose off turn 2. Brody Hanna had to get off the gas there. Almost got in the back of the number 4 machine. Jason Spear in this group as well. Josh Johnson, who started up in 5th position there as well. Tony Solari in the sandwich. They're 3 wide in front of him. Tim Bills, Mike Watts, Dean Doucette. And that's a battle 15th, I think, Chris. Sorry.
and working that inside lane there. Only one down that close to the apron here. Seems to be working out for him a little bit better than some other drivers as he's looking to get underneath 10 builds.
Stephen Vrooman in a brand new looking machine. We're used to seeing him in a yellow and purple machine. He's in an all black machine. Didn't recognize him there for a second, Stephen Vrooman. But now we got 3 wide between Bills, Terrell, and Bob and Doucette. Doucette with a nice move on the bottom. They're going to be almost 4 wide coming off the corner. Down the front.
Jared, you basically have the top 30 drivers here, nose to tail here on this track. Not a lot of separation between them. Pretty much everyone here is at least in this draft. As man, Dean Doucette is really working that inside really hard.
Loose there in front of him. Donnie Staubitz in the 99, a little bit loose above him. Stephen Vrooman a little bit loose. 3 wide still in this. This is a gaggle right here, Chris.
That it is. The 45 there of Tracy Powers trying to do everything he can to follow Dean Doucette, and he gets real close trying to use the side draft of the 00 machine here, just trying to do everything he possibly can to make this work. Stephen Vrooman really trying to hold these drivers up behind him.
On board Jeff Bratton, he's looking at the 5 machine. He's going to the high side. The 55, Jeff Bratton having a solid run, but my goodness, he has got guys all over him, left, right, center, forward, and behind.
And Mike Watson, that number 3 machine, had to basically get out of the throttle to keep from hitting the 45 of Tracy Powers. And now Mike is going to be underneath the 3, sliding up, though, having to get out of it just because of how loose he got that number 3 car.
And that 3 car, Chris, with Mike Watts involved in that first wreck of the night, and I wonder if he's got some damage that might be affecting that handling when he gets in that dirty air a little bit as he is drifting up the track. Back up front is Bernard Persson. Troy Torgerson has gotten around Darren Bruce finally for second. Bruce hanging steady in third place for K2B Motorsports. Then we got Chad Lang, who has made a big move. He is our biggest mover inside the top 10, Chris, up 11 spots right now. But Dean Doucette said, I'm not working with you. I'm going to go underneath you.
That he is. Dean Doucette really has an incredible car here, taking it 3 wide. He's going to look to underneath Brody Hanna in that 23 machine coming out of the corner.
Where did he come from? He came from dead last. Now, he qualified in 10th, Dean Doucette did, but because of an end of the longest line penalty for whatever happened last week, he had to drop to 43rd on the grid tonight, and he has made his way through all the traffic. Yes, he did get some help with some incidents, but a lot of this has been on the track, Chris.
That it has, and you can see how just yawed out he gets that car. Contact with Bill Benedict in the 90.
90, Bill Benedict hitting loose up there. And we got Mark Figueroa out there. He's part of K2B, rooting on his mates. He's part of the National Guard, but unfortunately can't be there because of stuff that he's got to do for that. So we thank him for his service and glad he's out there. And it's been awesome to have you in the league, Mark. And we broadcasted you before on Full Throttle TV, so we know all about you. But right now the battle is right here in 7th place. Dean Doucette, Brody Hanna, Jason Spear, Bill Benedict, all in this group. The top 5 single file.
That contact with Bill Benedict has kind of made this number 29 machine of Dean Doucette a little bit unstable. It seems like that damage is really starting to affect him, as now he's unable to make that bottom groove work near as well as he was able to earlier.
Ronnie Royal and Gil Gock on pit road, getting some further repairs done on those machines for those watching, for those guys. But right now, this battle in the front pack, and we got some other drivers, some other contenders coming forward. That's Jeff Chandler and Rachel Hunt. Now, Rachel Hunt led 93 of 100 laps last time we were here, so we know she's got a good car. Did not have a good qualifying effort in 9th, and she's kind of been hasn't really moved forward, Chris. But Jeff Chandler, a driver that started off in the pits, I missed the start. I didn't see any connection issues that happened with that number 31 machine, but he has got himself that lucky dog, thanks to that first caution, and he's moved himself into 10th place.
In front of him, Chad Lang also doing everything he can to get this machine around Jason Spear. He got a little bit loose coming out of the corner. Now Jeff Chandler is going to look to his inside.
Brody Hanna in the 23 machine got loose. 3 wide in front of him, Lang, Hunt, and Chandler. Chandler's going to clear him before they get to turn 1.
And Chandler, real big slide in the middle of the corner there, almost getting up to the 29 machine. Able to keep it off of and keep it going the right direction. But up front of them, Jason Spear trying to do whatever he can to push Bill Benedict around Chuck Sweeney in the 75.
On board Brody Hannon. You see, he's got to have to lift all the way out of the gas, Chris. That's how much this draft is right now. It just can't go anywhere. But Jeff Chandler making it work on the bottom side. Jason Spear, another driver, Chris, you alluded to, he is making it work. Up 3 spots in that number 83 machine. But he's got a rear end full of Jeff Chandler.
Just look at the run that Chandler and Spear are going to have on the Bill Benedict. That's just showing how much those two can draft together here, as now the 83 is beside the 90. The 83 looks a little bit tight coming out of the corner there. Now Jeff Chandler all on his bumper trying to push him in front of the 90.
Looking out the back of that Spear Motorsports number 83 machine, Jeff Chandler, Dean Doucette, Rachel Hunt, Chad Lang, Brody Hanna all in your picture. Donnie Staubitz, Vrooman also back there as well. And Bobby Terrell, the last driver of this group. Everybody else is kind of dropped off the back. Tony Solari in 18th, Lane Allen in 19th. They're kind of off the back right now. But Chris, this battle is heating up right here in the middle of this this front group.
That it is. Dean Doucette tried to make it 3 wide between Benedict and Spear, was unable to make it work, had to get out of the throttle completely, and when he did, now he's got Rachel Hunt to his outside.
On board Steven Vrooman in the 00 machine, looking out ahead of Donnie Staubitz there, and we got drivers battling all over the track. We got a slow car on the bottom. That is Wayne Grossi trying to get out of the way. He does, or no, that's Richie Coy. Apologies. He is get down and out of the way, but that car heavy damage. Tough night for Richie, who I don't think got any hardly any laps in the race before getting involved in that wreck.
No, he didn't. But what a great class act there by the 90 to get that thing as low as possible to stay out of these drivers' way. Really nowhere to go on this track, Jared, with the many lines that these guys are taking through here.
Kevin Rupert all the way down to the apron on the back straightaway, well out of the way. Doesn't want any part of this, as that front group is going to clear him before they get into turn number 3. But right now, Brian Helm looking on the outside, Chuck Sweeting looking on the inside in 3 and 4. That's the only group that's going on the front 5. Back here a little bit further, Rachel Hunt under pressure from Brody Hanna. Donnie Staubitz right there as well. And Donnie Staubitz, he needs a lot of help. He still has an opportunity, but he's outside the top 25 in points, so he needs a great run tonight, and he probably needs to win next week or this week at Michigan. Chris, this Michigan track, I have to say, we've had some drivers up front here that, you know, a little contact between Dean Doucette and Steven Vrooman down the straightaway. Dean Doucette, Chris, I think you were right. When he got that contact from the 90 machine, it either did something to the car or him driving up 40 positions did something to the car.
That it has. He seems to be getting really tight coming off of the corner. And when he does, he's trying to overdrive the car and it's kind of making that rear end slide out. It's a little bit different than being loose. Now he's just trying to overdrive and overcompensate that little arrow push that he's getting in the middle of the corner.
And we are on board Jeff Chandler. He's making a move right now. That is a battle for 6th position. Jason Spear on the outside as we jump on board the number 31 of Bruzy Raceware Ford. And he has got some help from Bill Benedict there on the bottom. Brody Hanna on the outside with Rachel Hunt. Doyle Lawrence is asking if Jeff Chandler was the highest mover. He did start from the pits, but technically he did qualify 15th. So right now that is not Jeff Chandler by the pure statistics of it. That would actually go to Tony Solari, up 22 positions, started 41st up to 19th. So Tony doing a great job inside the top 20 here in Michigan in that number 74 machine, Chris. He's working with Lane Allen, a driver that's trying to get in on points.
That he is. Up front, Bernard Person has a different car in his rearview mirror now. Troy Ferguson has made his way around the 06 car of Bruce and is trying to close in on Bernard Person, now just less than 3/10 behind Person.
Chris, to talk about Dean Doucette one more time, it seems like there is something going on with that 29 machine, because as soon as the top 10 cleared him, he has dropped all the way back, and they've actually got a separation in this first 20 car group. Dean Doucette has dropped off the back a little bit, almost a second behind 10th place now.
And we talked about how important the draft was here, Jared. This is what you can see. When you have a car that you have to get out of the throttle in the middle of the corner, you're slowing down everyone behind you. And that's why now you're seeing Donnie Staubitz trying to get around Vrooman behind them, just because they're trying to get another opportunity, someone else to get up here and try to get around this number 29. Vrooman going to lose a spot to Lang and now also to Johnson.
And we look further back, this group, we were talking about Lane Allen and Tony Solari. Dale Nearad also in there, but he's 5 laps down. These guys are actually catching this second group that's kind of formed here. Tim Bill's in this group. Randy McKinney, the 27 machine, he's got damage. He's in this group as well. Sherwood Williford, Chris, you look at that machine, damage on all corners, but he's got it fixed up pretty good compared to what it was originally. He's got that number 33 machine cooking up to 22nd position. Polisky up 16 in 23rd. Bratton having a nice night in 24th. Wayne Grossi, your top 25 right now.
And you mentioned it, the 33, getting that thing bandaged up and back out here. This is one of those tracks, Jared, that if you're able to stick behind someone, you'll be able to get around here just to keep pace with other drivers. And that's kind of what he's able to do in this 33 machine.
And that's what Williford is known for, is being able to come out here and get some stuff, some positions on the track, as I had to change cameras because that was very shaky on the wall there. We had a couple cars going by. They were really making that shake. Up front, it's still Bernard Person, Troy Torgerson in second position. We jump on board Torgerson. And Chris, 38 laps in. Now, we had some caution laps, but these guys, we're looking at a 125-lap race. It is at least a two-stopper tonight, I believe.
I believe you're right, Jared, and these drivers are going to be trying to talk to one another here soon just to figure out who's coming when, because they want to be able to come in with a group of cars. You don't want to go in by yourself just because of that draft power that's so prevalent here. You can kind of see it with the 06 pushing Troy Torgerson down the back straightaway, trying to get them that much closer to Bernard Person and trying to kind of distance themselves back there from the likes of Dean Doucette behind them.
Chris, even though Michigan, we talked about kind of races like Talladega, Daytona a little bit now, I'm still surprised at the lack of separation we've had in this top 10 group right now. They've basically been nose to tail since the last caution, which was on lap 13.
That they have, and really, Jared, they were side by side for the longest time, and it took them forever to get sorted out here. And now that they have, really, it's just a kind of a follow the leader here, almost like what you would expect out of a long run at Talladega or something like that. Richie Coy off the pace down on the apron.
Richie Coy getting out of the way there, I believe. I don't think that he has got a blown engine. I hope not. Richie Coy, yeah, he might have a blown engine. He is creeping down the back straightaway, and we are going to watch this because if he doesn't get off the track at the right spot, this could bring out a caution. Right now, as long as he's still rolling, I think he's way far down. I think he's going to be fine. No, it's not. It's going to bring out a yellow flag. It did. That's it. Wow. And Chris, good call there. I would not have picked that one up.
Unfortunately, Jared, a ultimate end for Richie Coy there. And really, it's not something you ever want to do, is bring out a caution because you can't get the car rolling. But Richie Coy had to, in that 19 machine, just not able to get around to the pits here. And this track, it's a huge track, Jared. Depending on where the engine blew, he was just along from the ride if he had just passed pit road.
Yeah, there's not really any spot to get off the track, and I'm surprised I brought out a caution, but it did, and that's our third caution of the night. Chris, you were talking earlier, you had some keys to the race. You want to grab it, get into those? These guys are about to make their pit stops.
Certainly, the first one's going to be strategy here. You got to talk to other drivers on the track. You can't win this race by yourself without a little bit of help, Jared. That's going to be your first key. Your second key is going to be there at the end. If you're not there at the end, it doesn't matter. And then the third thing is to think smart. Make no mistakes, especially on pit road as they're making their way there now.
On pit road, and we'll follow them down with our copter cam here. Bernard Person will lead him in. There's Richie Coy already back on pit road after his engine or mechanical issue there with the number 19 machine. Bernard Person in. Troy Torgerson's going to be the first one to get service, though. He's in the pits. Bernard Person in now, Chris. And this is going to be a big pit stop for these drivers right now. As you see, Matt Geringer going around to get the lucky dog, I believe. And I think Sherwood Williford, if I'm not mistaken, he might have missed his pit, so he's down the way. Everybody down the way right now. And it's going to be, I think Troy Torgerson might have nipped him. No, he didn't. Bernard Person still gets out, followed by Torgerson, Bruce, Spear, Helm, Brody Hanna with a great stop, Jeff Chandler, Rachel Hunt, and Chuck Sweeting, your top 10.
What an incredible shakeup there. The 83 machine of Spear jumping, I believe it was 3 spots to get up to the 5th. Just an excellent job on pit road.
Yeah, what a pit stop from him. We take a look at those pit lane times. real quick here. And my goodness, some good ones for these guys. And you see him down there. Williford did miss his pits, so he's at the top of that list, but he still needs to pit. So Bernard Persson with a 44.8, Torgerson a 44.6, Bruce a 44.7, Spear, Hanna, Helm with a little bit of slow stop there as well. Yeah, Helm with a 15.3, Chris, so didn't get in the box good.
Not at all, and that's going to cost him. As now Sherwood Williford will make his lonesome journey down pit road. Got Kevin Rupert in front of him in the one machine on a different lap than the rest of the field. But that's going to cost Sherwood a lot of positions, but maybe an opportunity to get a little bit more of that damage repaired, Jared.
Yeah, that's a good point, Chris. That is a very good point. Sure, Williford, number one, he gets a bonus point for leading lap. Number two, he gets more of that damage fixed. But the problem is, since this was a one-car mechanical failure, this is a quick caution. It's only 2 laps.
Nothing to clean up here on the Michigan International Speedway. We're going to go back racing here on lap 44. Bernard Persson, who's pretty much led every lap, I do believe, this race, now has got Torgerson on the outside of him. Now it looks like Bernard Persson's taking the inside lane on this restart, Jared.
So Bernard Persson switching up his strategy, going to the inside line. So we got Toyota, Ford, Chevy, Ford. That's your top 5. Then 2 more Toyotas, 2 more Fords, and a Chevy, your top 10. So a good mix in here in the field. But everybody bunched back up. What can these guys do, Chris? I did want to point out as well, as we're about ready to go back to green, Dean Doucette, just judging by his pit road time, I believe he did get some damage fixed on that 29 machine.
We'll have to keep an eye on how that's able to help him get around here. But Jared, now we've got another restart here, almost a third of the way through this race. These drivers are really going to need to push each other to get up here and get in position and try to take away this lead from Bernard Persson here on the restart.
5-man with the flag in the hand. Green flag is back out here at Michigan Speedway. And a good start by Torgerson on the outside. Good start by Bernard Persson. Dead heat heading into turn 1. Darren Bruce, good job from 3rd place. Up on the back bumper of the 8, heading into 1.
That push is going to help 8 get into the corner a little bit ahead of Torgerson. Has him cleared now. Will he go up front to try to block any run as they make it down the back straight? But bringing with him Bruce in the 06 machine.
Here they come down the back straightaway. It's Persson and a whole gaggle of cars following them. Everybody doing a good job through the corner. Darren Bruce looking on the inside again. Can't quite get there.
Can't quite get there, but don't look now. Brody Hanna in that 23 machine really strong in the middle of the corner again, Jared. Really trying to do whatever he can to get up beside Torgerson. Not able to do so yet, but now he's going to stack him up 2 wide behind him.
We had a wreck, but everything looks good. Kevin Rupert named in that one, but we stayed green. Yeah, that car blew up on the back straightaway. It didn't cause a caution. Very ironic that we had a caution the way we did, and that one didn't bring out one. But you look at these guys, they're battling, Chris, like this is the last lap. You look at this top 5. Darren Bruce is in there, but everybody in the top 6 has won a race. They're in the playoffs currently. But you look at Brian Helm, he's got to start making a move forward, I would think, at some point. Donnie Staubach's on the apron back here. That's 3 wide.
An extremely low groove down there on the apron. Able to make it work. Is now 3 wide underneath Bills and the 77 machine coming up on Lane Allen. Bills getting a little bit loose coming off the corner.
Tim Bill's a little bit loose, but everything good back here. Everybody's doing a good job, and this has been a very crazy race to say the least. We had a 35-lap green flag run, 2 early cautions. Last caution brought out because of mechanical failure for a driver. Couldn't get off the track, unfortunately. But right now, this race is heated up with Brody Hanna in that spot. And Jason Spear doing a good job in that number 83 machine, trying to gain some spots there and try to move up. He is in the playoffs solidly, so he's just looking for maybe some bonus points. Behind them, Rachel Hunt making a big move under Brian Helm.
Even farther back, Tracy Powers in the 45 was caught in the middle there between Andrew Poliski and the number 27 machine. And, man, they are really battling hard. You would think they were battling from the lead. Wayne Grossi in the 7 going to be able to get around the 27.
Tracy Powers actually outside the top 25, so he's battling to get back in the top 25. Poliski still has an outside chance at making the playoffs on points, as we talked about earlier, so he is in there as well. Wayne Grassi, also a driver. We talked about him all night. He's got to do what he can do, especially when he looks ahead and sees Brian Helm in 7th place, and you're running back here in 19th.
Vrooman in the 00 trying to get to the inside of the 31, and Jeff not able to make it work coming out of the corner. Jeff Chandler going to have the advantage going into 3, Jared.
Yeah, and Bill Benedict is going to take advantage on the high side. Chad Lang there as well. As Vrooman trying to make a move, and Jeff Chandler getting up the track, trying to get on the outside of Helm. Can't quite do it right now.
And Jared, a couple of laps ago, the 06 had an incredible run on the 8 car, elected not to take it and instead pushed the 8 car further away, and in front of him, Troy Turgeson all over the back of the 06 trying to force that move, not able to make it happen, and now the 8 is kind of got a little bit of a gap between him and the 06.
And while that was going on, Jeff Chandler made the move on Brian Helm underneath on the low side in turn 1 and 2. So Helm dropping back to 8th place. He's got Bill Benedict and Chad Lang, 2 drivers. Oh, little contact between Lang and Benedict. Everybody gets through good. Vrooman might stick it in 3 wide. And I think they wrecked.
They did. They certainly have wrecked just looking for the caution to come out. Still don't see it though, Jared.
Wow. We're going to have to get a replay on that when we can, but my goodness, that was tight action there as Vrooman, I think, stuck his nose in the middle of a situation there. And we'll see if we can get a replay on that, Chris, but my goodness, what a race we've had so far.
What an incredible event that just happened right there with Bills in the 77 machine, literally in the wall, Jared, but kept it going the right way with a little bit of contact with Bill Benedict and Stephen Vrooman in the 00 car with a little bit of 3 wide action there, but all 3 of those drivers able to bounce off the wall, keep it going the right way, and did not bring out the caution.
Now let's see if we're trying to find it. I think we've got it now, but yeah, we do have it now. So Chad Lang, right there in front of you as we're watching this replay, he's going to slide up into the 90 machine, and Bill Benedict does catch the wall a little bit. That's going to slow down everybody in front of him. Tim Bills is coming up the track, and just, oh my goodness, Bill Benedict is the disadvantaged driver in that situation. Nothing he could do, and that is tough because Bill Benedict, he needs every point he could get tonight, Chris.
Tough luck for the 90 machine, for the 00 and the 77 machine, and really the 05 of Josh Johnson as well.
That has separated your top 11. Tony Solari hanging on the back end of this top 10. Good run for Tony there, known for his road racing prowess. Hasn't had the best luck on ovals. He'll tell you as much, but a good job for Tony in the 74. They've opened up, because of that little incident, a 3.5 second lead on this second group that's led now by Tracy Powers, who barely made it through that. We got Staubitz, Poliski, Grassi, and Bobby Terrell all in this group as well, along with Randy McCanny.
And Donnie Staubitz looking to get around Tracy Powers and the 45 machine, able to slide that machine up in front of Powers to be able to take that position, and now he will try to catch that lead pack with these guys behind them.
And it's a very, very tough race. These guys are racing like we are at Talladega, but it is the top 10, top 11, all in a single file line, led by Bernard Persson, who has 1 victory this year, and it was his first career road course win back at Road America, if you can believe that. The defending champion looking for another win to get momentum into the playoffs. Darren Bruce, he doesn't have anything to play for except wins in that 06. He's running second. Torgerson, Hanna, Spear, and Hunt all have wins. They're in the top 6. Then we have Chandler also at the win in 7th. Then Lang, Helm, and Allen. 2 of those drivers, Chris, Lang and Allen, Allen and Helm, battling for maybe a points position to get in the playoffs.
That they are, and Allen going to make the most of it, trying to get that 14 machine up in front of Brian Helm, but Helm able to keep the momentum on the high side. He'll make it to the line quicker this time around. The 14 will fall in behind and live to fight another one, as we have another caution here, Jared.
Another caution on the track. This is Ralph Nolan, or Stephen Vrooman. Let's see what happened here. Looks like Ralph Nolan may have started this accident here. So Ralph Nolan, let's see here. Here he is. He is the 95 machine. And he was involved in the second caution of the night, Chris. And you see him on the high side there. And, oh, the Vrooman and Bills get together. And Allen is the innocent bystander. Or, sorry, Nolan is the innocent bystander on that one, Chris. Let's see if we can get a better look at that.
The 000 and the 77, 2 of the 3 drivers that were caught up in that wreck earlier with the 90 machine. And, man, it just looked like the 77 got a little bit loose coming out of the corner and used the 00 machine to try to correct it.
Yeah, he did get loose, and nothing that Ralph Nolan could do. And Dean Doucette with a good job to avoid that. Wow, I got to get on board the 29 machine because he saw a full view. I probably didn't want to see any of it. So we jump on board Dean Doucette and looking out the front passenger side. And you see the wreck happen right up in front of him. So he lets off the gas. He's on the brakes, and there is a car. Oh my God. Randall Ballard had to take evasive action as well. But good job by all those drivers to get through that wreck. So, Chris, these guys coming around on the straightaway here. And I don't see any takers right now for pit road. Or maybe we're in the wrong. No, we are coming on the front straightaway. Is that surprising? Nobody coming down pit road?
No, it's been a little bit too soon since our last trip down pit road. I don't think that you're going to be able to gain too much by pitting here, Jared.
Polisky's in.
Really, you want to save those tires if you can.
Jeff Chandler and Andrew Polisky, the only 2 drivers from inside the top 15 that have decided to come in pit road. So interesting decision for Jeff Chandler to come down pit road here. He did pit on lap 41, Chris. Now he's back in here on lap 57. So 16 laps. You said it. You didn't think it's a big enough deal, but is that on the threshold of being a good decision?
Well, Jeff Chandler, he's not racing for a championship here, Jared. So at this point, he may be able to play a little bit of strategy just so that way he can experiment for next season. You never know. This 31 machine really just trying to shake up the field here.
Exactly right, and that could be something we'll have to keep an eye on. Those fresh tires, even I've seen it before, Chris. Kansas, we're a track that's very smooth and doesn't burn the tires off too badly. I've seen where drivers come in 5-10 laps down and are able to go right by you. So it's going to be interesting to see what he can do. We look at some of these other drivers. TJ Bartel, the lucky dog, in 32nd position, so he's going to get himself back on the lead lap in that number 88 machine. Tough race for TJ tonight, getting involved in that first accident of the night. Brandon Elder off pit road. I don't think he does have some front end damage on that number 18 machine. So he has been involved in wrecks. He's in 33rd and he is the last car on the lead lap right now. But we have 33 drivers on the lead lap, Chris. 43 started, only 2 are out. Gil Gock and Joe Flanagan. Richie Coy likely out for the race as well because of that engine failure, but he has shown 39 laps down currently. But what a race it's been, Chris, and we haven't got to halfway just yet.
No, we haven't, Jared, and here we are on our 4th caution of the night. These drivers really being aggressive here in the draft, and really this is kind of what I think we're going to expect for the second half of this race as we're nearing the halfway mark here in just about, 13-14 laps from being halfway. But now Bernard Person, Troy Torgerson, Jason Spear, Brody Hanna, and Rachel Hunt are going to be your top 5 here. And excuse me, not Jason Spear. Jason Spear's in 6th. That was Troy Torgerson in that yellow and black machine.
Yeah, it's some different paint schemes out here tonight. As you can see, that our numbers don't quite match up with some of these guys, but a lot of these guys doing some different stuff with their paints. But hey, that's why you race, right? You got to show off your paints. But Tony Solari having a great run in the top 10. Lane Allen, Brian Helm, Chad Lang, the back half of that. All those drivers I just named need some help to get in the playoffs, and tonight could be that night for all those drivers. But we're about to find out. We're about 5 laps, Chris, from halfway. It looks like 63 would be just past that.
You're right. I'm not that good at math.
Yeah, I don't want to run 150 laps tonight. Well, I'm not running them. I'm calling them. So here we go. Pace car is down and away, and Bernard Person's going to lead him down again. Bill Benedict just leaving pit road, unfortunately, for the 90 machine, was a top 10 driver all night long. Green flag is out. Darren Bruce a little bit loose on the start, but a great recovery, and he's side by side heading down the front straightaway.
Side by side, almost a nose in front of the 8 machine of Bernard Person. Going to try everything he can to make that outside lane work with Brody Hanna behind him. And Troy Torgerson trying to push the 8 to the lead again here through the corner. The 8 cleared the 06 here, but does not make the move to go in front of him. Now they're side by side again going into 3.
Torgerson thought about maybe sticking to 3 wide as the cloud moves over Michigan Speedway. Bernard Person, though, he's going to get the help from Torgerson down the straightaway. Darren Bruce, he's got Brody Hanna on the back end of him. Jason Spear there as well. 3-4 wide behind him.
Rachel Hunt right behind Troy Torgerson. Looked like she was going to make it 3 wide per second here. Thought better of it. Now she's trying to hold on to the position with Brody Hanna on her outside.
Brody Hanna with a move on the outside. He's going to retain 4th position. Brian Helm way up in the Kyle Larson line. So is Donnie Staubitz and Lane Allen. Those guys riding the high line. Bernard Person pulling the IndyCar move, going blocking the low side down the back straightaway. Darren Bruce has got Brody Hanna shoving him down the straight.
Bruce has to go to the low line here to avoid hitting the 8 machine. Looks like he's content to ride behind the 8 machine. Loses a little bit of momentum as they come to the tri-oval. Now Brody Hanna going to have a run on the 06.
3 wide behind him. Randy McCanny, one of those drivers. He gets out of the gas, though. Tony Solari there. Tracy Powers. These guys all over each other back through this field. There is nowhere to go right now at Michigan Speedway, Chris.
Nowhere safe as you have all these drivers right on top of one another. Really good battles going from basically 1st through 28th on the track.
Randy McCanny right there in his new look number 27 machine. He's got damage, Chris. So does the 5 car. And these guys are still soldiering on inside the top 15, running 14th and 15th right now. Jeff Bratton having a good night, a season best night up there in 16th place. Wayne Grossi trying to recover from his little accident earlier, the second caution of the night in that 7 machine. And but back up front is all Darren Bruce and Bernard Person. They've been 1-2 pretty much since the start of this race. I mean, they started 1st and 2nd, Chris, and they really haven't changed positions since then.
No, they haven't. The only change up front has been Brody Hanna now takes the 3rd position away from Troy Torgerson. He's going to look to try to get underneath the 06 here. No, elects to stay behind him. These drivers are content to run 1, 2, 3, 4 here at the Michigan International Speedway.
Whoa, Bernard Person a little bit tight off the corner. That's going to shove everybody right together. There is no space. I don't think you could put a paper clip between these 2 drivers. That's how tight it was. Darren Bruce electing to let off the throttle. I'm surprised. I would have made the move on him if I could, Chris.
Certainly being out front is going to be where I would want to be myself too, Jared. But what that did is now Torgerson is back up in this battle. He's closing in on Brody Hanna in the 23 with Rachel Hunt behind him.
On board, Bernard Person, the Spear Motorsports number 8, and you see Darren Bruce there, and Darren Bruce looking low. Brody Hanna's going to be with him, so the 3 Fords there, Bruce, Hanna, and Torgerson seem to be kind of lining up. Rachel Hunt battling right behind them. Jason Spear on her inside, and Jason Spear tucks in behind. Good run from Bruce, and Person covers off the high side, Chris.
Covers up the high side, and the 06 car just seems to be content to be behind the number 8 machine. Now, in the real life racing world, that's going to ruin the tires and the runs for the 06 machine as this race goes on longer and longer. Behind them, Chad Lang and Brian Helm touching coming out of the corner.
Contact. Oh, we got somebody. Oh, it's Tony Solari down on the apron. Tony Solari, he was up in the top 10, and now he's dropped to 28th, and I don't know what happened to him. I don't see any damage on that 74 machine, but Tony, Brandon Elder has crashed. And he has made it on pit road, so it must have been right at the entrance of pit road. Very lucky there. Still staying green. It's Bernard Person, Darren Bruce, Brody Hanna, Troy Torgerson, Rachel Hunt, your top 5. Spear, Helm, Lang, Staubitz, and Allen, your top 10.
Now, Brody Hanna in the 23 machine looked underneath Darren Bruce in that number 06 machine. He wants to get up there and be in 2nd position. He's not content to ride around behind the number 8 machine.
I saw him to Brody before the race, Chris, and he was telling me, I just want to get out of here with a good points night because he doesn't want to have. He is on the threshold of the top 25 in points. In order to be eligible for the playoffs, you have to have a win and you have to be inside the top 25. He doesn't want to fall out of the top 25, so he wanted to get out of Michigan with a good points night, and that way he didn't have to worry about it at Daytona. And right now, if he finishes second or third, I think he'd be pretty happy. But I know Brody, and when he starts sniffing the lead, he's going to start wanting to get to the lead. And now the 8 car has the 23 behind him.
That he does, and the 23 has a great run going into the corner. He's going to stay behind the 8 machine, realizing he doesn't have any help behind him, as Darren Bruce was just quite too far back to give him the push to the lead. Now Darren Bruce has Tor Torgerson all over his bumper. Tor Torgerson looking to the outside, trying to make things work, then decides to get back in line behind the 06. Now Rachel Hunt will have a little bit of momentum on the high side coming out of the corner.
Chris, I'm looking out the back of Bernard Person on our back camera view, and this pack has not split apart like we've seen in those earlier runs. Is that what we're seeing with these tires kind of coming together here? I look at Jeff Chandler; he has made his way to 13th place, but otherwise, nobody's really making any moves right now.
Absolutely, I don't know that those tires for Jeff Chandler are making too much of a difference, as he was already fast to begin with. Maybe a little bit of speed, Jared, but not too much, as these guys kind of have the ability that, the tires really don't wear too much here at Michigan. Rachel Hunt way in the upside, up in that high groove, kind of running the Kyle Larson run, as she was able to maintain it. But now Brian Hunt is all over her back bumper.
Brian Helm is all over her back bumper. Troy Torgerson, I think he had to take some liberties there on the 06 machine, because he was all over the back of the 06 machine. And my goodness, what a race for this is going on today. But wanted to go back to Jeff Chandler, Frontline Esports, that team just kind of forming up. They got Randy McCann a couple weeks ago. Been told through the rumor mill that they are have a big announcement coming this week. So be checking for that on their social media pages and everything, because I don't know anything about the deal, but I've just been told to watch for a big announcement coming out of that Frontline Esports group. And Jeff Chandler on the move, and he is underneath Chuck Sweeting right now. Jeff Winter, I don't believe, was in the race tonight, Chris. I haven't seen him at all. So, and then Randy McKinney involved in that accident for Frontline. So that team, they're making some moves right before playoffs, and I wonder how that's going to affect chemistry heading into those big races.
That's certainly true, as now the 14
4 wide.
Side by side there. Now it's going to be down near at on the low side, looking to make a run, to decides to think better of it, getting behind the 31 machine. But wow, tough racing right here with this group of drivers.
We saw Chuck Sweeting running second last week, and Jeff Chandler a little bit loose off the corner. Poliski scrapes the wall behind him, and we saw last week Chuck Sweeting was second with Dean Doucette, or third with Dean Doucette. Dean Doucette in second. Jeff Chandler was in first. Those three walked away from the field, and Chuck Sweeting, unfortunate as Dean Doucette hit the wall, and both those drivers out of the race. But Chuck's having a great night, a recovery night tonight. Jeff Chandler underneath of Chad Lang. That is a battle for 8th place, so he is moving forward in that position. We look back up front. Bernard Person, he's still got Brody Hanna on his back bumper. Darren Bruce kind of peaking though, Chris. And is that to keep the car from blowing up, or is that because he wants to move back around Brody Hanna?
I don't know if it's to keep the car cool or not, but now he's got Troy Torgerson all over his back bumper, as they just kind of got a little bit out from under one another. Now, going into the corner there, I'm pretty certain that Torgerson had to get off of it so that he didn't wreck the 06 car going into the corner. That gives a little bit of separation to Brody Hanna and Bernard Person in front of them.
And we see that we have some separation for him. 13 drivers in this group. Kenneth Schultz got loose. He was able to keep that machine, the 91 machine, moving forward in 29th position. But right now, the top two kind of stepping out a little bit. We got 3 wide in the top 5, or top 10 right now, as Lane Allen had Lang and Poliski, but he is backed out of that move.
You know, Jared, I mentioned that I didn't know that the tires for Jeff Chandler were going to make that much of a difference. Well, I am eating my words, as he's now just outside the top 5 here. And right there he is, as we're now under caution again here.
We're waiting to see what this is for. I don't have anything on my screen, so let's see what we bring up here. So I'm still not, yeah, we're not getting anything. This is just an onboard camera and Kenneth Schultz. So we'll have to, I'm not sure. I don't know, Chris, if you can give me some visuals on what may have happened out there, but we're not getting anything through our system.
Yeah, I'm having to do a bit of searching myself, Jared. Just don't see a reason for the caution.
I do see some smoke on the back straightaway kind of lingering, and I wonder if there's an engine failure maybe out there. As Chris is looking there, these guys might be interested in some pit stops, but you wonder if Jeff Chandler will come in. He's in 6th position, and this is going to be a tight call for him because we've only gone 15, 16 laps since then. But these guys up here that pitted on lap 41, they're all coming in. And everybody behind him coming in as well. So Chandler is also back in. James Torrey, Tim Bills. Yeah, looks like everybody coming down pit road, Chris.
And Jared, it looks like it might have been a connection issue for one of our drivers. Kind of got loose and then immediately disconnected. It was Steven Vrooman.
So that was what maybe brought up that caution. So very unfortunate. Unfortunately, don't have anything to show you guys, but we are under our 5th caution here. 75 laps down, 50 to go here at Michigan. So still a lot of racing to go as Wayne Grossi misses his pits and has to drive through. Brody Hanna is going to win the race off pit road, Chris.
That he will, and what an incredible pit stop by that number 23 machine. And really, Jared, that's going to change the complexion of this race, as for the first time tonight, we'll have a new leader.
Let's bring up the pit stop time. These guys all coming off pit road. Hanna with a 14.4, the best. And the difference there, Bernard Persson, a 15-second pit stop, Chris. That's 0.6 of a second slower than the guys around him.
And that certainly has to do with the driver of the number 8 machine. And Jared, that's one thing about iRacing. You kind of have to blame this one all on the driver. You have to end up in your pit stop perfectly, maintaining pit speed all the way down. And really there, you get a little bit too left or too right or too forward, you can really hurt your pit stop. And I think that's what we saw there out of number 8 machine.
You see the pit lane time. So that is from the time they get down that down the pit road and then do their service and then get off pit road. And you see Brody Hanna, 43.9. 0.4. Darren Bruce, 43.9. Bernard Persson, 45.2. He almost lost out to Troy Torgerson right at the line there, Chris. So a little bit of a tough break for Bernard Persson because this is the first time he's had to chase somebody.
That it is. And now that he doesn't have that clean air in on that number 8 machine, we'll have to watch to see exactly if he's able to get back up there and around the 23. 23 was looking strong right before this caution, Jared. He's not going to make it easy.
And that's going to get Brody Hanna an all-important bonus point. So he came into the race tonight 27 points ahead of Tracy Powers, who's in 26th position. So he is still in a pretty good position here tonight, Chris, especially with the second place. So it doesn't look like he's going to be in danger of falling out of the top 25 at this point. But every little point helps.
That it does. And he's going to be trying to prove that he can do more than just point his way in by getting up here and getting his second win and getting as many points as he possibly can to get away from that cut line of the 25th position.
We are getting word from some of the drivers that are kind of spotting. They're also watching that potentially the 11 car was what brought out that caution, Chris. So if we can get a replay on that, we will. But right now the pace car is down and away, and we are about ready to get this thing going. Brody Hanna and Darren Bruce leading him down. Green flag's back out, and a good start by Darren Bruce on the outside line. Troy Torgerson didn't get going. The top 3 did, though, down the front straightaway.
Bernard Persson pushing the 23 machine. Oh, there's a little bit of contact there with Brody Hanna and Darren Bruce in the 06 machine. Wow, Jared, these drivers doing everything they can to get up here for position.
Darren Bruce and on board Brian Helm. He sees everything going on right now. Bernard Persson, the inside line, dying on the outside. Jeff Chandler, Troy Torgerson goes flying by on the outside.
And up front, Darren Bruce now going to take the lead away from Brody Hanna, or try to, I should say. Not able to get it clear yet. Now they're drag racing to the line. This lap, it looks like it's going to be Darren Bruce.
Darren Bruce, I believe, leads his first lap. He's been close a couple times tonight. Tony Solari has headed on pit road. Not sure what for on that 74 machine, but Darren Bruce does get that bonus. Oh, Brody Hanna gets loose!
Loose and into the wall. Now he's stuck on the outside there, letting everyone get around him. All these drivers working carefully to get around the number 23 machine.
Oh, Dean Doucette with a little contact. Oh, Kenneth Schultz. And Brody Hanna is just in a sitting duck in the middle of this field. We got big wreck.
Unfortunately, we're going to have a huge wreck here as Kenneth Schultz was unable to keep the car off of the up on the track, and Mike Watts in the 3 machine just plows into him, bringing out our 6th caution on the night.
Wow. Let's take a look and see what happened here. So this is all going to start. I mean, here's Kenneth Schultz. We'll show you this part right here. And Brody Hanna hits that wall, and no contact between them. Looks like a little net code. And Schultz tries to hold on to it, and there's Mike Watts. TJ Bartelli up in the catch fence. I believe that was Randall Ballard that put him up in there, and a hard impact for Kenneth Schultz. But this started a little bit further up as Brody Hanna had hit the wall coming off turn number 2, Chris.
And that's just how quickly this race can change. Brody Hanna was the leader on this restart 2 laps later, and now he is involved in a caution.
So here we go. We're watching from our TV camera here, and you see Brody Hanna. He's on the high side, and you see the back end goes around, tries to go around. He overcorrects the car into the wall. He tries to keep it high, so everybody's avoiding him. Does a good job, but you're 3 wide behind him. And Dean Doucette right there. It looks like Tracy Powers just maybe didn't know that Brody Hanna was there. Gets in the wall, little net code there. John Held almost involved, and everybody's stacking up behind that 23 machine, and Kenneth Schultz flying up through the air. And that's,
in addition to Mike Watts, TJ Bartel also got into Kenneth Schultz. Kenneth Schultz went for a wild ride. That car automatically towed back to the pits as he was flying through the air, Jared.
Heavy impact for TJ Bartel. Tough break for so many of these drivers, Chris. Man, there's nothing Brody Hanna can do in that situation except hold that car high. And unfortunately, just a little contact there with drivers getting around him, and it just unfortunately ended up causing a big wreck there, but not much the 23 could do besides not get loose, I guess.
Not at all. Looking back up front, though, now we've got a completely different look to this field. From up front, you got the 06 of Darren Bruce going to be the leader. Troy Torgerson behind him. Now Jeff Chandler in the 3rd position. Rachel Hunt and Chuck Sweeney will round out your top 5.
And that's going to be very interesting to see what these guys can do now that they're up there. And this whole race has flipped upside down. I mean, I don't even know where to start. We were told that the last caution was maybe with Matt Geringer. So I wanted to go back and see if we could get a look at that in the 11 machine. He is back out on the track. Doesn't look too much damage, but let's see if we can get a replay here. We might have found it. So Matt Geringer, the 11 machine, he's back in this deep pack there. And it looks like, he, nothing yet. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything with the 11 machine on that caution. Actually, might be a little bit too far back, Chris, but man, that last caution has changed everything up right now.
That it has now, Jared. We're going to be coming back green with 44 laps to go as the lights off on the pace car here up front now, where we have Darren Bruce in the 06 machine making, I believe it's one of his first starts here in the Cup Series. Now he's going to have the chance to lead this field to the green.
Darren Bruce, I mean, you're talking about a guy making his just his 5th start of the season. 5th career start in the FTSR Darkmatter Designs Cup Series. And he is just out there for victories. He is victory hunting like Colleague Racing was doing a couple weeks ago at Indianapolis Road Course. And tonight, Darren Bruce could be the guy that victory hunts his way to victory lane. But we have 45 laps to go. Big wreck. If you're just now joining us, the 23 car got loose in turn 2. It all kind of came together. And unfortunately, when you get loose in the middle of the pack, it's kind of what you're going to do at that point in time, as that created a bigger wreck behind him, but not much the 23 could do. But right now, we're about ready to get back to green. 6 cautions in the book, and we have Darren Bruce and Troy Torgerson leading them down to the green flag. And green flag is back out.
Leads them to the green. A pretty equal start between the top 2 drivers here as the 06 and 98 both have help behind them. Chandler trying to push the 06 machine to the lead in the corner. Hunt trying to help Troy Torgerson in the 98 to get to the lead. Right now, give it to Bruce in the 06 as he clears Torgerson in the middle of the corner.
Torgerson with a little side draft, little loose from Darren Bruce, little loose from Rachel Hunt. Everybody a little loose. Jeff Chandler trying to stick his nose on the inside. Hasn't worked a lot tonight, but Jeff Chandler's one of the drivers. Him and Dean Doucette were really working the bottom side. Darren Bruce goes to the bottom side to clear him off.
A little bit of contact between Torgerson and the 31 machine into the middle of the corner there, Jared. But tight racing as they keep it gathered up, going in the right direction. But now the 06 gets a little bit of a jump on these drivers behind him. That's actually not that much of an advantage as Torgerson now able to close up incredibly fast on the 06 machine.
3 Fords in the top 3. Torgerson, Bruce Torgerson, and Chandler clear the 2 Toyotas. Brian Helm loose off the corner, nearly clipped the wall, keeps it going straight. He's moved in behind the Toyota of Rachel Hunt for Fast Herd Sim Racing. So now we have 3 Fords and 2 Toyotas in your top 5. Bobby Terrell involved in the very first wreck of the night, Chris. He's up to 6th.
Bobby Terrell, I believe our normal season points leader going into this race. He is doing everything he possibly can to get up here and continue to show his dominance that he's had pretty much all season long between him and Casey McMullen as far as leading the point standings, having a great night. Had to do it the hard way too, Jared.
Yeah, he did. Had to do it the hard way. When you're involved in a wreck, it is the hard way no matter what. Bernard Person, who led the first 64 laps of this race, Chris, he has dropped all the way back to 7th place, and that shows just what it means to be out front in clean air versus being in traffic.
That it does. Just not able to get that machine where he wanted to go. Falling a little bit behind now. The 06 98 leading this field around here. Jeff Chandler, though, in the 31 with Rachel Hunt behind him, they're looking to get their noses up in between up here battling for the lead. Torgerson doing a little bit of a different line than Darren Bruce. Looks like these drivers all handling a little bit of a loose race car, Jared.
Yeah, a couple of pit stops, maybe some adjustments there as these guys racing hard up front. But it's Bruce, Torgerson, Chandler, Hunt, Helm, your top 5. Bernard Person makes a move, trying to get back to 6 under Bobby Terrell. That's your first battle. Chuck Sweeting, Jason Spear back there. Polisky has moved his way into 10th place.
And the 8 machine just not able to do it on that bottom group. Ends up losing a spot to Chuck Sweeting. Now he's going to try to dive it down deep into the corner, get to the 5's quarter panel here, get him a little bit loose. Now he's going to try to take that position back. Just not quite got the run out of the corner there, as now he'll fall back behind Chuck Sweeting going into 3.
Got a little help from Jason Spear's teammate. Chuck Sweeting, though, on the outside. Polisky going as well. Chad Lang sticking his nose up here. Josh Johnson, who had a great qualifying effort for K2B, he's in this battle. So is Lane Allen. We got all kinds of battling going on.
And you can see just what happens here when you get on that bottom groove and not able to get worked out. As now Jason Spear falling back, now side by side with the 05 machine, not able to stay on that bottom groove like Bernard Person, and even Person having a real hard time as he's getting loose off the corner with Chuck Sweeting on his outside.
Yeah, it just feels like these guys, Bernard Person, may have been set up to be out front, and now he's in traffic, and that car not handling nearly as well as it was early in the race. But up front, it is Darren Bruce, Troy Torgerson, Jeff Chandler, Rachel Hunt, Brian Helm, and Brian Helm under pressure from Bobby Terrell.
Bobby Terrell going to look to the inside. As soon as he does, Chuck Sweeting on the outside line in that 75 machine gets the run. He's going to get around Bobby Terrell on the 5 machine. Just not able to get a good run on the middle and the low line here. Not by yourself, Jared. You got to have help.
Bobby Terrell did sneak back in line in front of Bernard Person. That was close. I didn't know if Bernie was going to let him in there, but he did, and they make that happen. Jason Spear was trying to help Bernard Person earlier, And unfortunately, he's kind of paid the price. He's dropped all the way back to 11th place. Chad Lang and Andrew Polisky have both gotten around him in those machines. The top 11 have kind of opened up a gap on 12th place. Dean Doucette, though, he's got that damage repaired, Chris, and he's starting to make moves forward again.
That he is, as he looks underneath the 14 machine of Lane Allen, now battling with the 45 machine of Tracy Powers. These drivers, Jared, they're doing a little bit different here, as now it looks like the outside lane really has a lot more momentum than the inside lane.
And we kind of saw that yesterday, Chris, in the real race. The outside line developed more and more and more as the race went on, to the point where drivers, when they went to the choose lane, you know, that's like, do you want to give up 4 spots on the start, or do you want to give up 4 spots by choosing the inside line? And a lot of drivers chose the latter. But my goodness, tonight it has been the high side dominating. Troy Torgerson with a great run down the front straightaway. He has got up on the back of the 06 machine. But Darren Bruce, in just his 5th start, leading his first laps of his career here at FTSR and doing a great job. But now he's got pressure from 2 drivers. Jeff Chandler's won 4 races this year. Troy Torgerson 1 race this year. And Torgerson heading his way to the playoffs, Chris. How much pressure is Darren Bruce under as we are at 35 to go?
With only his 5th start of the season, he knows these guys behind him don't want him up there. They want to be able to get around and push him to the back of the pack. But right now, it doesn't matter. He's got the clean air. He's got the advantage. Troy Torgerson and Jeff Chandler are going to have to work together to be able to get around this 06 machine. And as of now, they're not able to do so.
Torgerson and Chandler will have to link up there if they can to make a move, because it's all about the draft in those machines. Rachel Hunt there as well. She has a win. The guy behind her does not. That's Brian Helm. He is looking for a win to punch his ticket without any problems next week at Daytona. He's in 5th place. He's doing everything he can besides win to solidify his point standing. Lane Allen back in 13th. Wayne Grossi in 20th. So this is going to help Brian Helm tremendously if he's able to stay in the top 5 tonight.
Torgerson had a great run coming off of the corner there. Nowhere to go as Bruce goes up and blocks the run from Torgerson. Not able to get around or even get the run or nose in on the 06 machine. Going to have to gather it back up and try again. But, Jared, it just seems like no one can get around whoever is up front in that clean air.
It has been a clean air dominant track. The top 20 are in one group. 21st is Tim Bills. He has dropped off the back. But now we got a little bit of interesting stuff going on because, Chris, you look at Dean Doucette. He is making a move underneath his teammate Lane Allen. Just can't quite get it done. But I have to wonder if that 29 car can still come to the front and make something happen here with 34 laps to go here.
34 laps to go, and he's been a pretty fast car all night. Just a couple incidents that have forced him to be back farther in the pack than he would like to be here. But now really trying to show that he has a little bit of muscle in that number 29 machine, trying to do everything he can to get back up here and contend for at least a top 5, top 10 position.
Battle for the lead. Troy Torgerson underneath Darren Bruce with a great run off turn number 1. And he got down on the back straightaway, got a little help. Darren Bruce a little bit loose. Jeff Chandler tries to undercross him on the high side. Can't quite get it done. Torgerson's to the lead, though. And we have Mark Figueroa asking, when did the leaders pit? Mark, they pitted on lap 73. So they have gone 20 laps, and we're under caution. And that is, this time it is definitely Matt Geringer, it looks like, or involved in this wreck. So there's the 11 car. He's bound with John Held and Tim Bills. This is back around 21st position. So he's coming off the corner. John Held down the track. Geringer just, there's a computer problem for the 11 machine. That car all the way across the track. And I think that is maybe a system crash, maybe.
I would have to say that you're right there, Jared. But, man, what a run by Torgerson to get this lead away from Darren Bruce on the inside lane here. Able to make it work with a little bit of help from Jeff Chandler. Jeff Chandler not able to get underneath the 06. Kind of got extremely loose as soon as he was trying to get side by side with the 06. And that really cost him some time. He was going to fall back into the clutches of the 16. This caution really prevented that. Now they're all going to go to pit road for some clean tires and more fuel.
All on pit road. Torgerson there leading them down with Darren Bruce right behind him. And, Chris, we got to look who is going to get a good pit stop. We saw Brody Hanna have a great pit stop on that last caution, or the caution before that, on lap 60. And now what can these guys do? Torgerson is in his box.
Man, and Rachel Hunt was doing everything she possibly could to get as much momentum into her box. She had that car locked up about 2 pit stops before hers, just trying to get the most out of this stop. And we'll see if it works out for her. It looks like she's going to come off pit road here for a third position here, Jared.
And it looks like, if I'm not mistaken, Jeff Chandler wins the race off pit road, Chris, beating Troy Torgerson off. Torgerson with a slow stop. I think the slowest stop he's had all night long, and it came at a really bad time for the pit road guys, as a 15.5 is what he's going to pull out there. Jeff Chandler with a great stop, 14.5. 1 second, that's all it took. And now Chandler is going to lead this race, followed by Torgerson, Hunt, Helm, and Sweeting, your top 5. Grossi and Bills did not come down pit road, Chris.
No, they didn't. Looking back farther down through the pack, it looks like Andrew Poliski decided to take only two tires here to try to get a little bit of positions here up to the 11th position. And Jared, this race, it's definitely coming down to who can get out front and defend here tonight. Now Jeff Chandler going to have his opportunity to do so, but Tim Bills and Wayne Grossi did not pit. We're going to have old tires in front of these guys.
Yeah, and double checking on Poliski. He was running in 10th when that caution came out, Chris. So I believe, based on that pit lane time, 14.6, I think that he took 4 tires, but you might want to double check on that. Bringing up some pit lane times, and you see there, Grossi and Bills are not going to come down pit road, which I find very interesting because these guys are out there. Wayne Grossi came in on lap 78, so that is 18 lap old tires. Tim Bills on 23 lap old tires in that machine. So this is going to be interesting for these guys on fresh tires behind him. But we're about to find out how much tires matter here in a couple seconds, Chris.
This restart is going to be a tricky one for those drivers that have been up front all night. Now they've got these 2 drivers, the 7 and 77, who are on older tires, Jared. And you know that means they have a higher chance of spinning those tires in front of the whole pack.
Well, Chris, I got to ask you, Wayne Grossi, he needs points. He's on the outside looking in. How much do you like this strategy?
It's a great strategy play, Jared. But unfortunately, I think he's only up here to get a lap-led bonus point here. The back of that number 7 is just all beat in. I don't know that he'll be able to maintain the lead if he's able to get up there without quite a bit of push from the drivers behind him.
We're about to find out. Pace car makes the left-hand turn down to pit road. It's going to be Grossi and Bills, the 7 and the 77, rolling all 7s on the front row. And the flagman is about to throw the flag. Green flag is back out here at Michigan. 30 laps to go.
A little bit of a slip there by the 77 with those old tires. That's going to get the 31 a little bit of advantage going into the corner. He's going to be able to easily take over second. Now going to be pushing Grossi. Looks to the inside. He wants the lead coming out of 1.
Grossi, nothing he can do. Chandler on the inside blows by him. Torgerson's going to blow by him as well.
Torgerson got a little bit loose coming out of the corner there. Now the 16 is going to push him. That's going to put her up to the 3rd position. Now she's going to look to go underneath Grossi in the 7 machine. The old tires, Jared, just do not seem to be working as the 7 and the 77 are going back in a hurry.
Oh, Bernard Persson in the middle of the sandwich. Andrew Poliski, great driving to stay off the 8 car because Wayne Grossi got tight off that corner, Chris. Nearly caused a big wreck there. Everybody continuing forward. Tim Bills also dropping back like a rock as well.
And it's really about those tires. You can see Wayne Grossi going as high as he possibly can.
4 wide contact. Jason Spear contact. Donnie Staubitz. Andrew Poliski involved. And Poliski may have kept it off the wall. If he did, that was miraculous. But my goodness, I think they were 4 wide there, Chris. And I don't think 3 of the drivers knew that.
I think you're right. And yes, the 96 kept it completely off the wall.
So let's see what happens here. Let's see if we can get a good view of this thing. So here's Jason Spear in the 83. So we got Poliski. Oh, we got Josh Johnson there. Poliski all in there. And then Spear comes down the track, gets into the side of Poliski. Poliski locks down the brakes. Yeah, I'm not sure. Let's see if we can get a better angle of this wreck.
And Jared, a driver that was able to sneak through that thing without any injury there was Dean Doucette, as he had a front seat to the melee that just happened.
It looks like the 83 just had a great run. The 5 car kind of got tight and came up the track, and unfortunately, Poliski gets turned around. But really, none of those drivers, Chris, really got too much out of that, surprisingly enough. They all kind of spun out of the way.
Yeah, it looks like the biggest damage there was to the number 7 machine. Had a little bit of wrinkle on that right rear bumper to match the left side. But other than that, not too much damage from all of these other drivers.
TJ Bartel, Dale Nearad on pit road. Donnie Staubitz did get some front end damage on that 99 machine. He will have to come in from 20th position. Wayne Grossi in, Rupert in, Brody Hanna in, as well as Poliski, who definitely flat spotted those tires, locking it down, trying to keep it off the wall.
And Jared, what saved Poliski was the fact that he locked those tires up, and right there, the wall breaks away so that the safety trucks can get onto the track. Because of that wall going away from him, he was able to stop just short of it because of that entrance. What an incredible amount of driving by Poliski in that 96 machine.
So we are going to approach the final 25 laps of the race tonight. It's a 500 mile or 250 mile race here tonight, Chris. So a little bit longer than what we usually do. These guys do 50% links, electing to do a 500 mile race split in half tonight, so 125 laps. Quite a long race, but these guys doing a great job so far. The cautions have been kind of strange. We've had one for maybe a connection issue, one for a computer failure, and one for an engine failure. No doubt on for Matt Geringer and Richie Coy on those situations. So far, it's actually been a pretty solid race, despite the 8 cautions we've had.
That it has, Jared, but now it's going to heat up as we're going to come back green here with exactly 25 laps to go. These drivers, they're going to do everything they can to get out here, get away from one another, and now it's a little bit even footing. Up front now it's going to be Jeff Chandler, Troy Torgerson, Rachel Hunt, Brian Helm, and Truck Sweeney. Helm needs a win to be able to secure his place in the playoffs. The 3 in front of him, though, Jared, they already have wins on this season. They are still going to be out here racing hard. Chandler not racing for the playoff or the championship, but still, he's been difficult to beat every race, no matter where we are this season. Now, Brian Helm can see the lead, but can he get up there and take it away?
Brian Helm is going to be the driver that we are going to focus on. Him and Lane Allen, both those drivers right there in the cusp of trying to make this thing on points if we don't have a different winner or a winner that is playoff eligible. So pretty much anybody in the top 10 right now, the top 15 or top 12, any of those drivers in the top 12, they can all win this race, and it does not affect Lane Allen, Brian Helm, or Wayne Grossi, which means one of those drivers will be locked in on points after Daytona, even if they don't win. So that makes this race even more important. Brian Helm came in with a 4-point advantage over Wayne Grossi and a 5-point disadvantage to Lane Allen for 15th in the playoffs. Right now, he is sitting on that playoff cut line. Wayne Grossi just outside of it. And then you look back further, Bill Benedict came in. He was in the top 10 all night, Chris, but he was 42 points out. He needed a good run tonight, and unfortunately got caught up in a wreck. He's not going to have that happen, and we'll have to pretty much win next week at Daytona.
Still don't count any of them out because Daytona, bit of a wild card, Jared, but still here tonight, we've got to finish this race. We'll have 24 laps to go as they take the green here. Chandler going to lead them to the restart zone. Flag man has the flag in his hand, getting ready to go green here, Jared.
Green flag is back out here at Michigan, and a good start by Jeff Chandler and Rachel Hunt, shoving him down the front straightaway, Chris, as they dive off into turn 1. Torgerson trying to recover on the outside.
Trying to recover, but now Rachel Hunt to his inside. Rachel Hunt, incredible bit of driving to push the 31 to the lead here. Now she's looking to clear the 98 machine, not able to do it off the corner. These cars wicked loose.
Wow, Bobby Terrell.
Terrell in the number 5 machine.
Exactly, Chris. Bobby Terrell swung that thing out. Torgerson going to help that forward of Jeff Chandler through. Bernard Person to the inside. Rachel Hunt has to slide up the track.
Looking to make it 3 wide. That helps Rachel Hunt, though, as now Brian Helm going to take it 3 wide.
What a move by Brian Helm. And he wrecks Rachel Hunt. Big wreck. Brian Helm involved. Dean Doucette, I believe, is involved, Chris. Lane Allen involved. Chad Lang, Dale Nearad. Unbelievable. Wow. Let's take a look and see what happened on that wreck. But that all started with a, I thought was going to be a move of the race from Brian Helm, but I couldn't see the end of that accident and just to see what happened there. But every driver caught up in that one. So here we go.
Jared,
Sorry.
riding on board with these drivers, it looks like Rachel kind of came down just a hair on the 26 machine, though no intention at all, but that's what started that whole thing. And then a lot of different drivers, nowhere to go.
Bobby Terrell, Dean Doucette with heavy damage. Lane Allen with a massive hit into the wall. We're going to have to get a lot of replays of this accident because this is a massive wreck with massive playoff implications. So here we go. Dynamic. Let's get on board our copter cam here, and you see Brian Helm with a big move. He's got such a huge run. He cuts down in front of Brian Helm, and just maybe a little net code there. And unfortunately, my goodness. Oh, and then we see Jason Spear get into it with Chad Lang, and that's going to collect Lane Allen as well. Darren Bruce gets through, but by the skin of his teeth. Unbelievable, Chris. My goodness. This has changed the whole complexion of this race.
That it has. Brian Helm doing everything he can to race his way into the playoffs. Not the outcome that he was looking for here tonight. A lot of damage to that number 26 machine. A lot of damage to Rachel Hunt. A lot of different people just nowhere to go. This track may be big and long, Jared, but even as though it's as wide as it possibly can be right there, when there's multiple cars wrecking, there's still nowhere to go.
Take a look at some different angles of this wreck here. So we're on board Dean Doucette. And you see the big move by Brian Helm. Now, he's got Josh Johnson in front of him. He can't see anything. And all of a sudden, there it is. And Brian Helm, the door opens up, and Brian Helm's there. And hard impact. Also, somebody else followed him through there. That was, somebody got him in the back end as well. My goodness. Heavy impact for the 29. Let's see if we can get some other replays as we have a second here, Chris. My goodness. Big wreck, big implications. Jump on board Chad Lang here. This is that second accident that kind of was going on here, and you see Chad Lang there. He's up on the high side. Let's see if we can get it better. There it is. There's the wreck, and Brian Helm comes up the track. And that's what happened. Jason Spear gets in the back of Bobby Terrell, who got the damage there, and you see just basically an accordion concertina effect there for those drivers. And my goodness, Chris, this has changed the whole race and the playoffs.
That it has is now Allen, Brian Helm, and Lang all a little bit of damage in this wreck. Chad Lang probably the least amount of damage out of all those drivers with just a little bit of right front damage to that machine. Now he'll have the opportunity to make up some valuable points here heading into Daytona next week.
It's got some guys out here requesting that we get a overhead shot, and that's not a bad idea. So we're gonna do that for you guys. That's what we do at Full Throttle TV. Let's see if we can take a look. If we got our copter cam here, yeah, we do. We do have a chopper cam. Let's see what happened between Rachel Hunt and Brian Helm. Let's we'll flip between them, see what's better here. So here we go. Brian Helm with a big run. On that front straightaway. Great move to get on the inside of Rachel Hunt there, and I don't know. That's a tight call.
That it is, and that's why we won't make it, because each driver has the opportunity to go in their different lines here, Jared, and really just a little bit of a racing incident, but a huge implications for a majority of the pack here tonight. But one driver that was able to make it through just behind Hunt and Helm, Bernard Person, now he's up to the third position with a little bit of help. Getting ready to go back green here. Jeff Chandler will lead them to the line. Behind him, Troy Torgerson, Bernard Person, Chuck Sweeney, and Bobby Terrell. Bobby was a little bit of damage in that incident, but still able to keep going here as the pace car goes down pit lane. We're going to go back racing here with 20 laps to go.
20 laps to go. Jeff Chandler, Troy Torgerson on the front row, Bernard Person, Chuck Sweeney there as well, Johnson, and Terrell, your top 5. Here we go. Green flag back out of Michigan.
Pretty dead even run between those top 2 drivers. Behind Person trying to push the 31 machine of Jeff Chandler to the lead. But right now, still side by side in the corner. Looks like Jeff Chandler is going to be able to clear. Got to get up in front of Torgerson at 98. Bernard Person going to try to battle for the second position here.
Huge battle down the back straightaway here. Torgerson shoving the Ford of Jeff Chandler to the lead. Chuck Sweeney with a power move on the outside as Bernard Person is there as well.
Bernard Person going to look down low, deep, and try to get to the inside of Troy Torgerson, but no one there to help him on that inside lane. Torgerson going to easily be able to take that spot thanks to a little help from Chuck Sweeney in the 75 machine. Move him to 3rd position going into 1.
John Held making a move underneath Tim Bills. That's a battle for 11th position. Brody Hanna, he was involved in a wreck earlier. Oh, and he gets loose off the corner. And, Donnie Stobbitt's loose. These cars with damage back here, Chris, are all over the place. But Brody Hanna trying to salvage something out of this race up into 12th place. Back up front, Chandler, Torgerson, Sweeting, Person, Terrell, your top 5. Powers into 6th. He's on the outside of the top 25. He needs everything he can get. And we got a wreck behind him, John Held. John Held through the grass. And he has got that car going. Missing the front clip now, so let's see what happened to the 10 car of John Held. So he is battling with Chad Lang. Now, Chad Lang has damage on that right front, as we know from before. So John Held on the bottom. Looks... Oh, Brody Hanna right into the side of Held. I couldn't tell from that angle, but we'll see if we can get a better look. So you see there, as we watch from Chad Lang here. And it looks like maybe Chad Lang got loose. I couldn't really tell, Chris, but and Tony Solara gets in the back of him as well. And some tough break there for some of those drivers.
Yeah, it looks like the 10 got a little bit of tight coming out of the corner, was kind of drifting up just a little bit. And when he did, Chad Lang was there already. Looks like those 2 drivers trying to fight for the same lane there. No fault of anyone's at all. They're just trying to get position here and keep it. And a little bit of contact, and a round went Held in that number 10 machine.
That's going to bring out our 10th caution of the night, Chris. And attrition and aggression have picked up to the nth degree here tonight after some great if I can talk, some great long green flag runs here. But now with the laps ticking down, everybody's starting to try to get what they can get.
Absolutely. We talked about one of the keys to this race, being able to make it to the end. Well, a couple of drivers up here up front, Chandler, Torgerson, Sweeney, Person, and Terrell, their top 5, they've all been able to keep it up front. Usually from the top 4, they've been able to keep it pretty clean all night. Bobby Terrell been involved in 2 different accidents here tonight, still able to maintain a top 5 position. That driver looking strong. Don't know that he can compete for the win here, Jared, but still able to make a good night out of all of what's going on, as that 5 machine is a little crumpled.
Yeah, definitely. John looked like John Held did push up the track, like you were saying, Chris, and that is unfortunate. And that's just the bad thing about that is Brody Hanna trying to get every point he can get to stay above the top 25 cut line, and gets caught up in that wreck. And that's the bad part of it, among all the other drivers that might have got some damage out of that as well. But it's a tough break, and it's been a tough race. But and that seems to be what happens, Chris. You get that opportunity to start making a move, get a restart, and then all of a sudden you just try to get everything you can get, like you were talking about. And I think that we're, as some of the guys in chat were saying, I don't think we're done with yellows just yet.
Absolutely. I think this is going to come down with at least one more yellow, possibly a green, white, checkered finish here at Michigan. But Jared, these drivers, they're doing everything they possibly can. There's still 24 drivers, including Helm, that's on the lead lap still here tonight. And everyone knows that they're battling for positions. They can tell that the playoffs are near, and the aggression here just speaks for itself.
And next week we go to Daytona to finish off our regular season. And that is going to be a heck of a race as the sun is setting here at Michigan. And you can definitely tell the orangeness in the sky here tonight. But it has been nothing but aggression. You look at this view down the back straightaway, and you can see the amount of drivers with damage. And I think only maybe the top 4 don't have damage. Torgerson, Chandler, Sweeting, and Person. We know Terrell has some damage. Tracy Powers, I believe, got a little damage. Johnson, I don't know. Poliski was involved in an accident. I don't know if he has damage. McCanny with some damage on the right side. Bills with some damage. Staubitz with some damage. These are top 15 cars with damage, Chris.
That just goes to show what these cars can do when they're behind other drivers here. Don't know that these drivers can get up here to lead this race with those wrinkled race cars, but they'll certainly be able to come out of here with a good finish here tonight, as we're going to go green with 15 laps to go here. A little bit of a short run stretch of a shootout, and Jeff Chandler going to lead them to the green.
Chandler going to lead him down. Torgerson on his outside, Sweeting behind him, and Person behind Torgerson. Here we go. Maybe the last restart, maybe not. Green flag back out here. We got a wreck already. And I think it was Donnie Staubitz who looked like he got turned. He is in the grass. We'll see if we can get a replay on that. But back up front, it is all battling. Torgerson has cleared Sweeting on the inside, and he is up to second place. Person trying to make a move on the back straightaway.
Person able to get that momentum off the high groove. Going to take the position away from Sweeney now, closing his eyes in on Troy Torgerson and that number 98 machine. 98 all over the bumper of the 31 machine, but up front, it's Jeff Chandler. He's get this 31 car up here. Now you're going to have to do everything you can to get around him, trying to break the draft, going through the tri-oval of the 98 machine, doing everything he can to keep that position, Jared.
Trying to get win number 5 on the year. Yes, he has withdrawn his playoff berth because of his work schedule. He doesn't know if he's going to be able to make all the playoff races. So he wants to get out here and show that he is going to be a force next year in this 31 machine. And he is leading over Troy Torgerson for GT Performance Sim Sport, having a great run again tonight. Bernard Person, he led 60 laps. He's going to get the most laps led tonight, I believe. He's clinched that now. And he is trying to get back up around these 2 Ford drivers.
Troy Torgerson trying to do everything he can to possibly get a run on the 31, looking high, looking low, but Jeff Chandler closes the door every single time he goes to try to get a run. He's going to have a little bit more help from the 8 car to be able to get around Jeff Chandler.
Want to shout out Tracy Powers. What a race he's having. Maybe the race of the season. He is coming in here back in 26th in points, running up 20 positions tonight. I was a former teammate with Tracy. Great guy, and man, he is having a drive of a lifetime to make the playoffs. He needs to win the race. Chuck Sweeting disappears just ahead of him, and he is in this 5-car breakaway here. And Chris, I don't know how this race is going to turn out, but he is sitting in a good spot there. He can let things happen in front of him.
That he can. He's kind of had a quiet night all night until the end here, able to make that 45 car up there, now trying to take the position from Chuck Sweeney on the inside, coming down the back straightaway, really able to use the disfortunate luck from other drivers to be able to get that 45 up here and be in contention, really doing so by just avoiding mistakes, avoiding wrecks. Now he's looking to finish this one strong. Doesn't look like he has quite the car that he needs to be able to get up here and probably take this win away, but still a great attempt here by Powers.
We got a car, Chris. I think that is Tony Solari. I believe that is Tony Solari. Yes, he is smoking down the front straightaway, Chris. That 74 machine, that engine's about to expire. That is definitely Tony Solari. He's trying to get down out of the way, but I don't know if he's going to make it back around, Chris, so we're going to have to keep an eye on that. Back up front, it's Chandler, Torgerson, Person, Sweeting, and Powers, your top 5. Person with a mirror full of Sweeting off turn 4.
And without a doubt, Jared, the 74 machine has blown up. Looks like he's going to be able to coast back to pit road, still over 100 miles an hour in that machine, but definitely not the night that he was looking for. as he'll make that thing to get that thing to the pit road and avoid a caution here tonight.
Yes, Laurie has made it to pit road. You'll see it down there at the bottom on our pit road indicator. So he has made on pit road. We're going to stay green. 10 laps to go, Michigan. Chandler and Torgerson, nose to tail. Person looking underneath the 98 into turn 3. He's going to get alongside.
Daddy Will, as he goes all the way down to the apron to try to make that move. Looks like he's going to have just a little bit more momentum than Torgerson in the 98, but give it to Torgerson at the line. Is there a car all the way down in the grass down below them?
Getting out of the way. That was Kenneth Schultz that got out of the way. Didn't want to play any factor of this lead pack. You look at Rachel Hunt. She's in 6th place. Randy McCanny in 7th. And Johnson there as well. Those cars all have some damage, so they are trying their best. But look at the back of this second group, Chris. Sherwin Williford. And I remember talking earlier in the race, the very first caution of the race, that car was torn up on the back, torn up on the side, torn up on the front. And he's got that thing repaired, and he is hanging on to a top 10 position. Hats off to Sherwin Williford tonight.
That never quit mentality of the 33 machine really paying off big here tonight at Michigan International Speedway.
And just ahead of him, Bobby Terrell with damage, Randy McCanny with damage, Rachel Hunt with damage. I don't know if Josh Johnson got damage or not, but I do believe he did get a little bit on the front end. Having a good night in just his second race. Down 2 spots. He qualified 5th. He's in 7th, so good job for Johnson. Darren Bruce, unfortunately, got picked up in that last wreck, and he was leading this race, and that car well off the pace back in 19th position. So what a showing for Darren, but unfortunately, it's not going to be the finish he deserves.
Up front, Jeff Chandler reaching the 199 miles an hour coming to the corner here, Jared. Able to pull away a little bit as behind them, Bernard Person trying to take the second position away from Troy Torgerson in that 98 machine at the line. Looks like he was able to get around for that lap, but now Torgerson going to make it work on the outside with a little bit more momentum than the 8.
Battling in front, there is Donnie Staubitz. He got dumped on the start. We did not get a chance to take a look and see what happened to Donnie, but we will go back and take a look when we have an opportunity to do so. But the battling up front is too good to leave right now. Torgerson doing a good job holding off Bernard Person. Chuck Sweeting trying to look. He's all over the back end of Bernard Person as they come down the front straightaway. Powers just sitting there and waiting still, Chris. I'm a little bit surprised he hasn't made a move yet.
Part of the reason I believe he's not made the move is because he's waiting for one of these guys to create that caution. We talked about it, but now he's going to look to the inside of the 75, sliding up into the track. Those two almost touching coming out of the corner.
Kenneth Schultz has wrecked, but he's able to get off the track. We're going to stay green. 6 laps to go. Top 5 have increased their gap to 3 seconds over Rachel Hunt, who's getting help from Josh Johnson. I think it's too little too late for those drivers to get back up into this battle, but they are battling themselves out for the back half of the top 10. Sure, Williford in that group. Our second group, Jeff Bratton, what a race for him. He's up 22 positions. I don't know if he has much damage, but he is holding on strong in 11th place. Poliski in 12th. Wayne Grossi, Chris, he was involved in a couple wrecks tonight, and I thought, he's going to lead this race. He's going to have to win next week at Daytona, and all of a sudden, the whole deck shuffled up, and Wayne Grossi is our best running driver that was on that playoff bubble all of a sudden.
That he is, and trying to make up those points just from other people's mishaps here, able to maintain his race here, even with that damage. But up front, Jared, looks like no one has anything for this 31 machine. Seems like they all need to start working together to be able to get around Jeff Chandler.
Jeff Chandler, Troy Torgerson, 4 laps to go. What can the 98 machine do? And Chris, he's locked in the playoffs. So is Bernard Person. Chuck Sweeting and Jeff Chandler, they have nothing to play for. Tracy Powers has the most to gain and kind of the least to lose out of this top 5 group. I just don't know if he has the help to do it. But if you're Troy Torgerson, he's got a battle for Bernard Person. Person shoves it down in the corner. He's going to get alongside Jeff Chandler into 3.
Looking to get underneath Chandler, but had to get out of it because he was going to wash up the track. Now Torgerson and him side by side coming down the line. Torgerson going to maintain that second position. Now Person going to have to hold off Chuck Sweeting to keep the 3rd position.
Sweeting goes around and he's going to close the door on Tracy Powers. But Chris, my point was going to be, how hard does Troy Torgerson race for a race win? I mean, that's 3 extra playoff points that you get to keep throughout the entire round that you're in. Is it that important with how tight this season has been to try to push Jeff Chandler to get around him?
Absolutely. Even if it weren't for the playoff points alone, you want to get up here and prove that you can battle with Jeff Chandler here. Jeff Chandler has the most wins in this league so far, this season, and all these guys behind him, they want to start getting up there and getting up to the higher numbers as well. But right now, that's not going to happen without a little bit of help from their friends.
Chandler is all there. 2 laps to go. What can Troy Torgerson do? Can Tracy Powers maybe be aggressive here and try to make a move on this group as well? Chuck Sweeting's going to look underneath. And don't look now, Chris. There is a gaggle of damaged off-pace cars that may play a little bit of an impact on the finish of this race.
They may do so. And right now, battle for second as Chuck Sweeney is going to try to take it away from Troy Torgerson. Behind him, the 8 car is going to go with Sweeney trying to make this thing work. Give it to Sweeney. He's going to get it clear of Troy Torgerson. A little bit of contact, it looked like, between the 8 and the 98, or at least got real close here. Now the 8 trying to make something of it to keep third position here, and maybe he can get up and push Sweeney around the 31 machine.
Sweeting, the highest he's ran all night, second place right now. But there are 4 cars that are heavily damaged off pace. I don't know if they are going to catch him at the wrong time or not, Chris, but I got to be concerned if I'm Jeff Chandler, because these guys are, they're going to catch him. They're going to play a factor. They all go to the high side for the most part. Chad Lang and Jason Spear way out of the way, but this is going to play a little bit of an impact on the finish. Jeff Chandler clears him. He's going to be able to get through. He's going to grab the victory. Chuck Sweeney's going to hold off Bernard Persson for third place. Torgerson drops to fourth, and Powers with a solid and best run of the season in fifth tonight, Chris, as that lap traffic just played just a little bit of an impact on the finish of this race, unfortunately.
That they did, Jared, but also kudos to those drivers by staying out of the way and letting the race kind of play out the way that it did here, not getting involved in any wreck there coming to the line. I hate to say it, Jared, but I was wrong. I was expecting we'd have at least one more caution, maybe a green, white, checkered, but not out of these drivers, as they did everything they can and kept it as clean as possible. Jeff Chandler, your winner here at Michigan.
Jeff Chandler missed the start, had to start the race from the pits, didn't get going. Got benefacted by a caution, was able to get back out there, get back on the lead lap early, but basically came from the back of the field, Chris, and grabs the victory, leads 40 laps tonight, and will grab a season-high 5 victories on the season. He has been the dominant driver by far when he's able to race at his full potential, and that number 31 machine is going to grab the victory tonight, Chris, but you have to take a look at some of these other drivers. My goodness, I mean, let's first off, what about Chuck Sweeting coming through there at the end of that race to grab second?
What an incredible run by that 75 machine, really doing everything. He put himself in the right place, getting the right runs to get around Torgerson and pull Bernard Persson with him around Torgerson. Really just an incredible runs, and knowing where to put that 75 machine gives him that second spot here tonight.
And we wanted to go back and take a look at that the last restart we had. Something happened to Donnie Staubitz, and we did not get a chance to go back and look. It did not bring out a yellow flag. But there's Donnie. He's at the bottom of your screen. The 99, there's a checkup. And, that's what happened to Darren Bruce. Runs right in the back of him. Big checkup in front of Donnie there, and unfortunate. So that hurt Darren Bruce. That's what happened to Darren there, where he got his damage from. And, my goodness, tough break for Donnie Staubitz as he had to go through the grass to get back up, and a top 10 finish out of his hands at that point, Chris. But what can you say about this finish? Great race, and you kind of have to feel a little bit bad for Bernard Persson, who dominated this race until a bad pit stop undid it.
Absolutely. We talked about having to minimize mistakes. That was going to be the key as they came down pit road, and just on that same pit stop, Jared, the 8 machine just not able to get it done, and really mired that car back in traffic, where it just did not handle quite as well as it did up front. But give it to the guys around him for being able to take advantage of that ultimately here at the end.
Exactly right. And we're just trying to get our points up and loaded, and then we're going to actually jump right into the interviews here, because these guys are already ready to go. They're ready to talk to us tonight, Chris, which is awesome to see. But looking at this right now, I mean, Bernard Persson, these guys, I think that Wayne Grossi, the big benefactor there tonight.
Absolutely. I would have to say that is definitely true. Able to bring that machine home 14th here tonight, and really able to put a little bit of distance between himself and those around him. Just the guys behind him, Brian Helm, not having the night that they were expecting and getting caught up in damage, really helped Wayne Grossi in that 7 machine.
Exactly right. We almost got it up, everybody. So we're just we wanted to get a little a look at the playoff here. So to give you guys an indication of what is going on as far as the bubble looks like heading into Daytona next week. And it's not pulling any data for some reason, so I apologize. But just doing some quick math, Wayne Grossi finishing 14th, and you look back at some of these other drivers, Lane Allen back there in 28th position. So Wayne Grossi, I think, is going to move into a pretty good position heading into Daytona.
That he is in a race track that is known for surprises and upsets. He's going to be able to at least minimize the impact that track can cause him by his run here tonight.
So there's your results. Chandler, Sweeting, Person, your top three. Torgerson, Powers, Josh Johnson in his second race. Great run for him, grabbing sixth place. Rachel Hunt, McCanny, Terrell, Williford, all those drivers had damage and somehow were able to hold on to a top 10. Poliski, Mayu, Bratton with a great run in 13th. Wayne Grossi, 14th. And Tim Bills, your top 15. Bartel, Helm, Hanna with a good recovery after being involved in 2 accidents tonight. He's going to finish 18th. Darren Bruce and Bill Benedict, your top 20. And then we look back at some of these other drivers that finished out of the race. You look at Tony Solari, 11 laps down with that engine failure. Lane Allen, 23 laps down. Dean Doucette, 23 laps down. Geringer, 34 laps down. Casey McMullen, 44 laps down. Ralph Nolan, 71. Ronnie Royal, 100. Big-time implications for some of these drivers back here, Chris.
Absolutely, Jared, as these drivers just caught up in things early on and not able to recover just because of damage being too bad. Now, looking forward, we've got Daytona next week. These drivers are really going to be amped up going there, knowing a lot of different drivers have a lot on the line. They need to win to be able to get into the chase. And
speaking of drivers that did get a win, Chris, I believe you are sitting down on pit road with our third-place finisher who grabbed a win earlier at Road America, but had a tough night tonight. Bernard Person leading the most laps.
That I have. Bernard, you did everything seemingly right until you got to your pit stall and had a little bit slower pit stall and lost the lead. Is that really what ultimately came down to how this race went for you at the end?
Yeah, it just seemed like I've been having problems with pit road for some reason. Having problems judging where to be in pit road because of my eye, but it was a good race.
That it was leading a race high 72 laps here tonight, and it just seemed like your car handled a little bit differently back mired in traffic than it did when you were out front. Is that something you would set your car up for this racetrack so that you would knowingly would have a better car up front?
Yeah, well, with this package, as you're the leader, you can dictate what lane you want it to go, because once that car behind you gets behind you, he gives you that push from the air. So being out front, that was the way to be. In the pack, it was kind of hard to pass people, especially down low.
What would it have taken to get this number 8 machine up into victory lane here tonight?
Probably not mess up in pit road.
Well, that's certainly an unfortunate mistake there by Bernie. But next week we're heading to Daytona, a wild card of a track to finish out the season here. What can this number 8 crew do to end up in victory lane there?
Well, we have a pretty good program with the super speedways. That's, like you said, that's a wild card. You have to have a lot of luck there, and try to be out front the whole time and come into pit road as teammates or as a pack and come out together. I think that's what's going to win it.
Absolutely. And Bernie, who helps get this number 8 machine to and from the virtual track?
Well, Spears Motorsports, all my teammates, we work really hard to make these setups. Shout out to Brian for his bad luck at tonight, and Jason. You guys for always putting on a good show. Darkmatter Designs, and for Brody for putting together an awesome league. I mean, there's so much talent here, anybody can win.
congratulations on the P3 position here tonight. We'll be looking forward to watching this number 8 machine at Daytona next week.
Thanks, Chris. Have a good night.
All right, Chris, that was our third place finisher, Bernard Person. And I've caught up with our runner-up tonight, Mr. Chuck Sweeting. Congratulations on grabbing second place. And you were kind of in the top 10 all night long, but it wasn't until the payout window started to open that we saw you up front. Good run tonight.
Thank you. Yeah, I had a really good car in the long run. If it had been a few more laps there, maybe I'd had something for Jeff. But congrats to him on an awesome job, and it was a lot of fun tonight. Had a really good race.
Well, we talked to you a couple weeks ago, and you said your goal is to place spoiler. You almost did it tonight, and you started back in 7th place, and you were in the top, 5, 10 all night long. But it just seemed like, for a lot of the drivers, if you weren't being out front was the advantage, it seemed like. And if you weren't, it was really difficult to make a pass. How difficult was it out there to make passes?
Oh, it was nearly impossible on the inside, unless somebody made a mistake or got a little tight on exit. You couldn't make a pass. There were a couple times when I got on the outside of somebody entering turn 1 and made some passes, but that was just lucky. Once people realized if they left that open, they were vulnerable. They stopped leaving it open if somebody was behind them. So it's awful. I mean, I really don't like it. It used to be so much better here. I'm not sure what the difference is now. Maybe they need to knock that spoiler down some, but I don't know. We'll be going to a new car next year, so it's all going to be different anyway.
Yeah, and it made for some exciting action from the broadcast booth, but I'm sure being on the track a little bit different situation. But Chuck, you've come into the season. You've made just a handful of starts so far this year, and we talked about what your goals were, and that was getting wins. Did at that point when you got up to behind Chandler, were you just going to go for it, or were you still trying to play a little bit conservative there, or was it just the passing part that we talked about?
No, I would have gone for it that close to the end. It might have cost me some spots, but I'm really only running to win anyway. So, and those guys have to be kind of careful. They're running for points and playoffs and stuff. So yeah, I definitely, if I could have got to him, I'd have gone for it.
Well, Chuck, great run. You're always a top contender. Glad to have you in the league. Return our attention to Daytona next week. Now you have nothing to race for at this point. I believe Gil Gock's eliminated now at this point as well. Your teammate. What is the plan for Gator Racing going into, I guess, a home track for you guys?
Try to survive till the end and then try to make a run to the front. I never have good luck at those plate tracks. I don't really like them either, but they can be fun. There's always a lot of close racing. It's certainly fun to watch, so everybody should watch it. But I don't know. We'll see when we get there. I'll see what the boss's plan is for the race, and if we're going to race hard or if we're going to ride for a while. We hadn't really talked about it yet, so I got to get with him this week, and we'll see what kind of plan we can come up with.
All right, Chuck. Well, congratulations on a runner-up finish tonight. I'm going to turn the mic over to you and let you have the last word.
I just want to thank everyone in the league, the admins and all, for all the hard work they do, and thanks to Gil, of course, for all the hard work he does for the team, the paints and the setups and everything. He really puts a lot of effort in, so I really appreciate it, and I'm having fun. We'll look forward to the next race. All
right, Chris, that was our runner-up, Chuck Sweeting, and I believe you caught up down there with our race victor, number 5 on the season for Mr. Jeff Chandler.
That I have Jeff Chandler here in victory lane for the 5th time this season. Jeff, I have to ask, you started from the pits and made your way up to the front here. Is that exactly how you wanted tonight to go?
No, sir, not at all. That was just a stupid mistake. I accidentally hit my escape button, which my escape button is on my center button on my wheel, and I have no idea why, and it just booted me out of the server. I didn't ever think I'd make it back in.
Wow. Technology there causing an issue for you, but able to rebound quickly here because of that early caution, getting the wave around there to get you back on the lead lap. And really, Jeff, this race, I'm pretty certain that you had to pass the most amount of cars to get up here, up into the lead, leading 30 laps on the night. Really, once you got out front, didn't seem like anybody was going to be able to get around you. Is that kind of how you felt behind the 31 machine?
Well, yeah, I think as Bernie and I were talking about it, it was like at the beginning of the race, there was nobody going to get by him unless they ganged up on him or some strategy. It was just like Bernie said, that bubble of air when you get up behind, the leader in particular, it just gives you big old boost, and it's really difficult to pass here one-on-one. I think it's pretty much impossible unless you've got fresh tires and you dive to the bottom. That's about the only way. But we were all pretty much equal tires, and whoever got out of the pits on that last stop had the advantage, and I did. And I'm usually just terrible on pit stops, so kudos to the pit crew for getting me out first.
Absolutely. And looking at your time, it was a 14.58, the best pit stop you had all night for this 31 team. And really, that was what the difference maker was there. You were able to get on and off pit road better than anyone else in the field and claim that lead. But I'd be remiss to ask, this is now your 5th win, and you've given up your playoff spot. How hard is it to go out here? No, you're just going out and having fun with all these guys racing hard around you, trying to get their way into the playoffs.
Oh, it's not. I'm totally fine with my decision, because it was like I was telling Jared. There's a lot of guys that are here every week and preparing every week, and I had no chance of winning the championship, or it was a very, very unlikely. And why take up the spot? And it was a no-brainer to me. I never even, early on in the season, I was like, I knew my fate. Every other race, and occasionally I could do back-to-back ones, but I wasn't gonna be able to, give it a legitimate shot. So I'm totally fine with it. Somebody else deserves it, so I'm happy with that.
A great sportsman effort there by the 31 team. Jeff, got to ask, who helps gets this 31 machine to and from the virtual track?
Well, definitely big shout out to Frontline Esports, man. We worked really hard on the set all week. Actually, started a week before last, and really made super big strides on it. Just seemed like night after night we were finding speed. So thanks to Frontline Esports. Judd Daniels, Senator Bruzy Racewear. We appreciate his support. He's got a great line of racewear. Just need to check that out. Doyle Lawrence of Raven Graphics. I don't think I can say enough about him. He does just such a wonder. He's got a bunch of cars. He's updating right now that I'll be debuting soon. Darkmatter Designs. Thank them very much for sponsoring our series. Full Throttle TV, guys. Jared and Chris, y'all are the best, and we appreciate what y'all do. You make it even that much more fun to race in this league. And definitely FTSR, just a fantastic group of guys, and I love running here. It's just it's been the happiest time of my sim racing career is running in this league.
Absolutely, and thanks for the shout out, Jeff. Next week, going to Daytona, do we expect the 31 machine to be there in the field?
Yep, I'll be there at that one. And boy, that's not my. I have a bad attitude towards plate racing, so I usually my finish usually fits my bad attitude about it. So I'm going to try to reverse it. If not, maybe I get an opportunity to push one of my teammates to the front or to the win. And we have an announcement coming up this week about some new teammates that we're getting. So pretty excited about that.
Well, we'll be looking forward to that announcement and watching the 31 machine in action at Daytona for the last race of the season. Jeff, congrats on the finish here tonight. 5 wins on the season. Incredible feat by the 31 team.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Jared. We appreciate you guys very much.
All right, Chris, that was our race winner, Mr. Jeff Chandler, grabbing his 5th of the year. And points updating now, Chris, and you look at it, Wayne Grossi and Brian Helm now tied for 15th in points. Lane Allen falls outside the bubble by 6 points. Daytona's going to be heck for these guys.
That it is, and these guys are going to be having to race with that in mind all night long. The easy way to get in is going to be to win, but unfortunately that won't be the case for everyone on the track. Only one winner, Jared. Everyone else, they're going to have to work their way in based on points. And now, with it being tied, that's the battle we'll watch basically all night next week at Daytona.
Yeah, and with no new winners, that means we will, at least one of those drivers is guaranteed a spot in on points of those 3. And then Daytona's a wild card. You never know who could win. Brandon Elder won the season opener over his teammate Lane Allen. And if you look back, if you're Lane Allen, you have to wonder, man, if I could have won that race, I could have been set and unfortunately he's going to have to find a way to get the victory at Daytona next week because he is in a world of trouble at this point. But Chris, we're going to have all that action and more coming up on Full Throttle TV. We're going to be back tomorrow night with Kicking Asphalt with the Next Gen cars. Check those guys out, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And then Wednesday night, the final race for the Blackwire Products Truck Series here at FTSR. Those guys heading to Daytona first, and then we'll be back on Saturday for SimRacingPoints.com Sports Car Series as they take on Montreal. And then myself and Chris will be back to cover all the action next Monday night on Full Throttle TV, live from Daytona. But until then, for Chris Spear, for Full Throttle Sim Racing, for Darkmatter Designs, I'm Jared Carr. We'll see you guys out on the track.